My child, stop. Do not scroll. Do not look away. Do not tell yourself this is for later. This is an urgent word, and it is aimed directly at your heart. I am speaking now because time is not as generous as you think, and silence will not protect you from what delay is already shaping. What you are about to hear is not casual, not comforting, and not accidental. It is a warning wrapped in mercy. Stay with me. Listen with your spirit, not just your ears. Every sentence carries weight, and every moment you remain here matters more than you realize. If you leave now, you may never recognize how close you were to clarity. But if you stay until the end, you will understand why this moment found you, and why walking away is no longer an option. My child, before you read another word, I need you to understand this with your spirit, not just your mind. You are not here by chance. This moment did not stumble upon you, and you did not merely wander into it. I have been arranging this encounter longer than you realize, quietly weaving timing, interruptions, restlessness, and unseen pauses so that your heart would be in the exact posture it is in right now. There are moments when I whisper, moments when I wait, and moments when I intervene, and this is an intervention. I did not speak because you were curious. I spoke because you were drifting. I did not interrupt your flow to inconvenience you, but to protect you from walking further into something that looks harmless, but is slowly costing you clarity, sensitivity, and alignment. You have sensed for some time that something felt off, not sinful in an obvious way, not loud or dramatic, but dull, quiet, heavy. That heaviness is not random. It is the weight of ignoring gentle warnings that were meant to turn you sooner. I allowed you to feel unsettled because comfort would have kept you asleep. I allowed the interruption because silence would have let you continue without realizing what you were losing. And now here you are, reading these words, feeling that strange mix of urgency and recognition. That is not emotion. That is awareness awakening. This moment is not loud because it needs to be dramatic. It is heavy because it is precise. You are standing in a space where awareness meets responsibility. Once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you know, neutrality disappears. I brought you here because something in you was beginning to normalize distance from me, to accept dullness as normal, to confuse endurance with health. I am not accusing you. I am calling you back before numbness settles in deeper. You are not weak for needing this interruption. You are loved enough to be stopped. And hear me clearly now, because this matters more than you know. Accidents are careless, but this moment is careful. Every delay, every restless night, every thought that said something needs to change was me preparing you for this point of recognition. I do not waste urgency. I do not speak sharply unless softness had been ignored. And I do not interrupt without purpose. You may not yet see what I am protecting you from, but one day you will look back and realize this moment was a hinge in your story. A place where things could have quietly gone wrong without resistance, without rebellion, without noise, just slow misalignment. That is the most dangerous kind, because it does not feel urgent until much has already been lost. I am stopping you now not because you have failed, but because you matter too much to let drift rewrite your future. I see paths ahead of you that require clarity, discernment, and a tender heart. And those things you're owed when ignored too long. This is not fear speaking to you. Fear rushes. I am steady. This is not condemnation. Condemnation pushes you away. I am drawing you closer. This is love that refuses to let you call coincidence what is actually care. Stay with me here. Do not rush past this point. Let it sink in that you were chosen for interruption, not overlooked. I have your attention now not to overwhelm you, but to awaken you gently before louder consequences are required. This is the beginning of a conversation, not the end of one. And everything that follows depends on whether you acknowledge this truth. You are here because I wanted you here. Now, before it was too late. My child, I need you to slow your breathing and quiet the inner noise for a moment, because what I am saying now is not general, not symbolic, and not meant for interpretation. I am speaking to you, not to the version of you that others see, not to the image you project, not to the role you play, but to the private you, the one who carries questions without answers and weight without witnesses. You have wondered why these words feel different, why they seem to look back at you instead of simply passing through your mind. That is because this is not a broadcast. It is a summons. When I speak to crowds, I inspire. When I speak to individuals, I expose, not to shame you, but to free you. Your heart recognized me before your logic caught up, and that recognition stirred something uncomfortable because intimacy always does. You are not being singled out because you are weak. You are being addressed because you are capable of hearing me. Many hear sound. Few hear meaning. Many feel emotion. Few respond with obedience. You paused because something in you knew this was not for someone like you, but for you exactly as you are. This is the difference between noise and knowing. I am not vague with you because vagueness would let you hide. I am precise because precision brings clarity, and clarity demands response. I am speaking directly because indirect words would let you assume this was optional. It is not optional. You have reached a moment where pretending this is for someone else would be self-deception, and you already know how costly that has been in the past. I am calling your attention not to scare you, but to awaken you from the habit of distancing yourself from truth by calling it coincidence. You have grown skilled at blending in, at listening without receiving, at nodding without moving. You have learned how to be present without being responsive, how to stay close without committing fully. That skill once protected you, but now it is hindering you. And I am speaking to you because I love you too much to let protection turn into paralysis. I know the internal arguments you make, how you tell yourself you will deal with this later, how you promise yourself you will respond when things are calmer, clearer, easier. What clarity does not come from waiting. It comes from responding. You keep asking me to speak more clearly, yet when I do, you search for ways to soften the message so it does not require immediate change. That is not confusion. That is resistance dressed as discernment. I am not offended by your questions, but I will not negotiate with your delays. When I speak directly, it is because the time for indirectness has passed. You do not need more signs. You need courage. You do not need more confirmation. You need envision. I am speaking now because the window for pretending you did not hear me is closing. This is not pressure from heaven. It is alignment offered before misalignment becomes permanent. You know my voice. You have always known it. And the reason this feels intense is because truth carries weight when it lands on a heart that knows it must answer. So listen closely, my child, because I will not shout this again in the same way. When I speak directly, I am inviting you into responsibility, not punishment. Responsibility for what you already sense, already know, already feel stirring beneath your routines and distractions. You are not lost, but you are not fully aligned either. And that in-between place is dangerous because it feels familiar enough to tolerate and uncomfortable enough to drain you slowly. I am calling you out of that place now. Not hardly but firmly. Not angrily but hurriedly. This is not about perfection. It is about honesty. Honesty with me, and honesty with yourself. Stop pretending this is for someone else. Stop assuming you can observe without responding. When a father looks his child in the eyes and speaks their name, it is not to entertain conversation. It is to initiate change, I am speaking to you because I want you whole, awake, and free. And everything that follows will require you to accept this truth first. I am not talking around you. I am talking to you. My child, hear me with seriousness now, because what I am about to say is not meant to frighten you, but to sober you. Ignoring this will cost you more than you think, not all at once, not dramatically, not in a way others will immediately notice, but quietly, gradually, and persistently. Loss does not always arrive as collapse. Sometimes it comes as erosion. You lose clarity first, then sensitivity, then conviction, then courage. You wake up one day wondering why your prayers feel hollow, why your passion feels distant, why your discernment feels dull, and you cannot pinpoint the moment it started. That is the danger of delay. It disguises consequence as time. You assume nothing is happening because nothing is exploding. But unseen things are shifting when truth is postponed. Ignoring me does not mean I stop loving you. It means you stop listening. And when you stop listening, you begin living on borrowed wisdom, recycled convictions, and memories of intimacy instead of present connection. That is not freedom. It is survival masquerading as stability. I am warning you now because I see where this path leads, even if it looks harmless from where you stand. What you dismiss today as not urgent becomes tomorrow's regret when the cost finally surfaces. This is not threat language. This is reality language. Seeds grow silently before they become visible. So do consequences. You tend to measure cost by immediate discomfort, but I measure it by long-term drift. You think ignoring this simply means staying where you are, but there is no such thing as spiritual neutrality. Standing still is an illusion. If you are not moving toward alignment, you are slowly moving away from it. What you tolerate will teach you what is acceptable. What you delay will teach your heart that obedience is optional. And once that lesson takes root, reversing it becomes far more difficult than responding now. I am not telling you this to shame you. I am telling you because I want to spare you. There are versions of you that will never exist if you continue postponing truth. There are levels of peace, clarity, and authority you will never step into if you keep negotiating with urgency. And one day, when you look back, you will not grieve a single dramatic failure. You will grieve the small obediences you ignored because they seemed inconvenient at the time. I am not asking for everything at once. I am asking for responsiveness now. Delay is not neutral. Delay is a decision disguised as patience. And patience that is not rooted in obedience is simply fear buying time. So let me speak plainly, my child, because love that refuses clarity is not love at all. You are not being threatened with loss. You are being warned about it so you can avoid it. There is still time. That is why I am speaking. But time is not endless, and responsiveness shapes what remains available to you. I am not saying this moment will never come again in any form, but it will not come again like this. With this clarity, with this urgency, with this directness. When a father warns his child about the edge of a cliff, it is not because he expects them to fall, but because he knows how easy it is to take one step too far while assuming everything is still safe. I am calling you back from that edge now. Not with panic, but with truth. Listen. Respond. Do not minimize what this moment requires of you. Ignoring this will cost you more than you think, but listening now will give you more than you imagined possible. My child, if you are honest with yourself, you already know this voice is not new. It is familiar. It has spoken to you before, in quieter moments, in subtler ways, through gentle resistance and persistent unease. You did not miss it because it was unclear. You missed it because it was inconvenient. I warned you before the weight became heavy, before the confusion settled in. before the distance felt normal. I warned you in whispers before I had to speak in urgency. There were moments when something inside you tightened for no obvious reason, when decisions that looked fine on the surface felt wrong in your spirit. Those were warnings. There were nights when rest would not come easily, when your mind replayed the same questions again and again, not because you were anxious, but because something was unresolved. Those were warnings. I spoke through delays that frustrated you, through closed doors that confused you, through interruptions that felt unnecessary at the time. And still, you moved forward, telling yourself you would deal with it later, that you would circle back when life slowed down. But life rarely slows down on its own. Warnings are not meant to scare you. They are meant to steer you. And steering only works if you respond while there is still room to turn. You have been warned before, not because you were in danger of sudden collapse, but because you were drifting toward gradual dullness. And dullness is far more dangerous than crisis, because crisis wakes you up, but dullness puts you to sleep while you are still moving. You learned how to override those early signals. You told yourself you were overthinking. You told yourself you were being too sensitive. You told yourself everyone feels this way sometimes. And in doing so, you trained your heart to doubt its own discernment. That is not wisdom, that is survival coping masquerading as maturity. I do not warn you because I enjoy repetition. I repeat because you did not respond the first time. I return to this conversation because what I was protecting you from then is still ahead of you now. Warnings escalate when ignored, not because my patience runs out, but because your margin for correction narrows. Think of it like this. A whisper can turn you early, but when the path gets closer to the edge, the voice must become louder. I am not angry that you did not respond immediately. I am concerned that you learned to live with the discomfort instead of aggressing its source. You normalized tension. You normalized distance. You normalized a version of life that requires constant effort just to stay afloat. And all the while, I was trying to show you that something was misaligned, not broken, not doomed, but misaligned. Alignment can be restored quickly when addressed early. But when warnings are ignored repeatedly, restoration becomes more painful than it needed to be. I am not reminding you of past warnings to condemn you. I am reminding you so you recognize this pattern before it repeats again. So hear me now, my child, because this is a moment of mercy layered with memory. I am connecting the dots for you so you no longer call history coincidence. The same voice that tugged at you then is speaking to you now, clearer, firmer, closer. You are not starting from scratch. You are being given another chance to respond where you previously hesitated. That is grace. But grace is not permission to delay again. Grace is opportunity to realign while opportunity still exists. Do not tell yourself you did not know. You did know. You felt it. You sensed it. You questioned it. And now I am confirming it so you can move forward without doubt. Let this be the moment where you stop overriding conviction and start honoring it. Let this be the moment where warnings become wisdom instead of regret. I am not here to revisit the past. I am here to redeem your response in the present. Listen now. Respond now. The warning has been spoken again, not because I enjoy repeating myself, but because I love you enough to return until you finally turn. My child, I need you to release the illusion that time is neutral, endless, or waiting patiently for your comfort. Time is not your enemy, but it is not your servant either. It moves with or without your readiness, and it does not pause for hesitation. You have been telling yourself there is still plenty of time, that you will respond when things are clearer, calmer, more convenient. But clarity does not come from delay. It comes from decision. Calm does not precede obedience, it follows it. I am speaking to you now because time is not as generous as you assume. Not because the clock is about to strike midnight, but because the season you are in has an expiration you cannot see. Seasons shift quietly. Doors close softly. Opportunities fade gradually. And most people do not realize they have missed them until they are gone. I do not want that to be your story. That is why my voice carries urgency now. Urgency is not panic. It is precision. It is truth spoken at the right moment, before momentum carries you too far in the wrong direction. You think you are standing still, but life is moving around you, shaping you, forming habits, reinforcing patterns. Every day you delay, something is being formed in you, either responsiveness or resistance. And resistance, once learned, does not disappear easily. You measure time by days and years. I measure it by readiness and response. There are windows of opportunity that open only when certain conditions align. Your awareness, your humility, your willingness. When those conditions pass, the window closes, not out of punishment, but out of order. You cannot harvest what you refuse to plant when the ground was fertile. You cannot step into alignment if you continually postpone surrender. This is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to awaken you. You have assumed you will always feel this same pull, this same conviction, this same clarity. That assumption is dangerous. Conviction fades when ignored. Sensitivity dulls when overridden. What feels urgent today can feel distant tomorrow if you keep pushing it aside. That is why I am calling you now. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. Because now is when your heart is still soft enough to respond without resentment. Now is when your conscience still speaks without shouting. Now is when turning is still simple. I am not saying you are running out of love. You will never outrun my love. But you cannot pace the ease of obedience if you continue to delay. And I want obedience to be light for you, not heavy. So listen carefully, my child, and let this truth settle deep within you. Time is not against you, but it is not unlimited in its opportunities. What I am offering you now is alignment while it is still gentle, correction while it is still kind, awakening while it is still hopeful. If you ignore this, you will not fall off a cliff. You will slowly drift until returning feels harder than staying misaligned. And that is a burden I do not want you to carry. I am calling you to act now because now is when acting costs the least. Now is when change is simplest. Now it is when obedience feels possible instead of overwhelming. Do not wait for urgency to turn into crisis. Do not wait for conviction to turn into regret. Receive this moment for what it is. A gift of timing, a mercy of warning, a doorway still open. Step through it while you can. I am with you here. I am speaking because there is still time, but not as much as you think. My child, there is a reason your attention has been under attack lately, and it is not accidental. Distraction is not random noise. It is a strategy. The enemy does not always come with destruction. Often he comes with diversion. He does not need to pull you into obvious rebellion if he can keep you busy, preoccupied, overstimulated, and slightly tired. A distracted heart is easier to guide than a defiant one. You have felt it, haven't you? The constant pull toward something else. The way your mind jumps from thought to thought. The subtle pressure to stay occupied so you never sit long enough to listen. That is not modern life alone. That is a battle for your focus. Because focus determines formation. What you repeatedly give your attention to will eventually shape what you value, and what you value will determine what you obey. The enemy knows this. That is why the distractions feel harmless, even reasonable. Nothing blatantly wrong. Nothing obviously sinful. Just enough noise to keep you from hearing me clearly. Just enough busyness to keep you from responding fully. Just enough fatigue to make obedience feel heavy. Distraction dulls urgency. It blurs consequence. It whispers, later is fine, until later becomes never. And I am speaking now because the volume has increased. Not because you are failing, but because you are close to clarity. Resistance always intensifies right before breakthrough. That is not coincidence. That is opposition reacting to proximity. You may have noticed how easily your mind wanders when things get quiet, how quickly you reach for something to fill the silence. Silence has begun to feel uncomfortable because silence is where truth surfaces. In silence, questions arise. In silence, conviction speaks. In silence, direction becomes clear. So the enemy fills your silence with stimulation, screens thoughts, tasks, conversations, anything to keep you from staying still long enough to hear me. He wants you distracted now because now is when your heart is soft, when awareness is rising, when obedience is within reach. He does not need to convince you that I am not real. He only needs to convince you that responding can wait. Distraction is delay disguised as necessity. It tells you that everything is urgent except the one thing that actually is. It trains your mind to prioritize the immediate over the important, the loud over the true, the urgent feeling over the eternally significant. And if you are not careful, you begin to confuse motion with progress, activity with obedience, exhaustion with faithfulness. But I did not create you to be perpetually busy. I created you to be attentive. Attentive hearts hear quickly. Distracted hearts miss what matters most. So listen to me closely, my child, because this moment requires intentional resistance. Not resistance against people or circumstances, but against the pull to fragment your attention. This is not about removing everything from your life. It is about restoring order. Order in what you listen to. Order in what you prioritize. Order in what you respond to first. The enemy wants you distracted right now because he knows that if you slow down, if you quiet yourself, if you stay with me here, clarity will come, and clarity demands action. He fears your stillness because stillness exposes lies. He fears your focus because focused hearts are dangerous to darkness. Do not underestimate how powerful it is to simply stay present with me in this moment. Do not rush past this warning. Guard your attention. Choose stillness over stimulation. Choose listening over scrolling. Choose obedience over convenience. I am not asking for perfection. I am asking for presence. And presence, right now, is an act of spiritual warfare. Stay with me. This is not the time to drift. This is the time to listen with intention and respond with courage. My child, whether you acknowledge it fully yet or not, you are standing at a crossroad. Not a dramatic fork in the road marked by flashing signs, but a quiet intersection where direction is decided by small choices. Crossroads rarely announce themselves loudly. They appear ordinary, familiar, even mundane. One path feels comfortable because it looks like where you have already been. The other feels uncertain because it requires trust instead of habit. Both are available. Both feel possible. But only one leads where you actually want to go. You have arrived at this point not because you rushed, but because time, decisions, and responses have brought you here naturally. Crossroads are not punishments, they are revelations. They reveal what you value, what you fear, and what you are willing to release in order to move forward. You cannot remain here forever. Standing still is not an option, even if it feels safer. Indecision is still a decision, and it always favors the familiar path. That is why I am speaking with clarity now. Because crossroads demand awareness. They require you to look up, to assess honestly, to choose intentionally. If you drift through this moment, you will end up somewhere, but not somewhere chosen. And living on chosen paths is how regret is born quietly. One path allows you to maintain control. It asks nothing new of you. It lets you keep your routines, your coping mechanisms, your carefully managed distance. It feels safe because it is predictable. But predictability is not the same as peace. The other path asks for surrender. Not blind surrender, but trusting surrender. It asks you to let go of the illusion that you can manage everything without me. It asks you to step forward before you see the entire route. That path feels heavier because it requires faith. But it is actually lighter because you do not walk it alone. I am not telling you which path is easier. I am telling you which path leads to life. Crossroads expose the difference between comfort and calling. Comfort keeps you stable but small. Calling stretches you, refines you, and aligns you with who you were created to become. I know the fear that rises when you realize you must choose. Fear whispers that choosing wrong will ruin everything. But I tell you this, not choosing will cost you more than choosing imperfectly with me. I guide the willing, not the flawless. I direct the responsive, not the fearless. So pause here with me, my child, and look honestly at where each path leads. Do not rush this decision, but do not avoid it either. This is not about pressure. It is about purpose. I am not asking you to leap recklessly. I am asking you to step intentionally. Crossroads are sacred moments because they reveal who you trust when outcomes are not guaranteed. You do not need to know every detail of the path ahead. You only need to know who is walking with you. And I am here. I have always been here. This is not a test designed for you to fail. It is an invitation designed for you to grow. Choose alignment over familiarity. Choose obedience over comfort. Choose truth over ease. I will meet you on the path you choose toward me. Do not linger too long at this intersection. The time to decide is now, while your heart is still soft and your vision still clear. Choose wisely, my child. This moment will shape what comes next. My child, let me say this slowly and clearly, because misunderstanding this point will harden your heart instead of healing it. I am not threatening you. I am protecting you. Threats come from fear of loss. Protection comes from love that sees danger before you do. A threat says do this or else. Protection says stop, there is something you cannot see yet. And what you are hearing now is protection spoken firmly because gentleness has already been offered. I know how easily your mind reframes urgency as condemnation. I know how quickly you assume intensity means anger. But intensity does not always mean wrath. Sometimes it means proximity. When a father raises his voice, it is not always because his child is bad, it is often because his child is close to harm. You have been interpreting my firmness as rejection when it is actually closeness. I would not warn you if I intended to abandon you. I would not interrupt you if I were done with you. Silence is what indifference sounds like. Engagement is what love does. And I'm deeply engaged with you right now. This is not discipline meant to shame you. This is restraint meant to save you. There is a difference between being corrected and being condemned, and I need you to feel that difference in your bones. Condemnation pushes you away from me. Protection pulls you closer. And everything I am saying is meant to draw you in, not drive you out. You have grown cautious of strong words because strong words were once used to control or hurt you. So when you hear urgency, something in you braces instead of listens. But I am not those voices. I do not manipulate. I do not coerce. I do not trap. I warn because I care, and I persist because what is at stake matters. Think of the ways I have already protected you. Paths blocked, relationships ended, opportunities delayed. At the time, you felt frustrated, confused, even rejected. But later, you saw what you were spared. That same protective hand is speaking now. You may not yet see what lies ahead on the path you are drifting toward, but I do. I see the weariness it will produce. I see the compromises it will demand. I see the version of you that will slowly shrink to survive there. And I love you too much to let you wander into that future without warning. Protection often feels inconvenient in the moment. Seatbelts restrict movement. Guardrails limit freedom. But both exist because what lies beyond them is unforgiving. My boundaries are not barriers to joy. They are buffers against loss. When I say stop, it is not to deny you life. It is to preserve it. So let your heart soften here, my child. Do not tense up against me. Do not interpret my care as control. I am not standing over you with a clenched fist. I am standing beside you with an outstretched arm. This warning is not the sound of doors closing. It is the sound of one staying open a little longer. You are still being protected even now, even in your hesitation, even in your resistance. But protection works best when it is received, not resisted. Trust that my urgency is rooted in love, not impatience. Trust that my firmness is fueled by foresight, not frustration. I am guarding something precious in you, your clarity, your tenderness, your future obedience. Let me protect you by listening. Let me shield you by responding. You do not need to fear my voice. It is the voice that has kept you alive more times than you realize. Stay close. Stay open. This is not a threat. This is love standing between you and harm. My child, because I am protecting you, I am also inviting you to protect others. What you are hearing now is not only for you. It is light meant to travel farther than your own life. When you give to carry this word, you are sowing oil into lamps that are still burning in dark places. I say to you now, those who water others will themselves be watered, and this promise is alive in this moment. Your desire to support this work did not come from pressure. It came from me. This is a divine interruption where love becomes action and protection becomes provision for many souls. I will bless what you place in my hands with increase, clarity, and covering. Act now. Support this mission through super thanks, membership, or give through PayPal. The link is in the video description, and let what protected you become a shield for others. My child, this urgency is not foreign to you. It has visited you before, quietly at first, then more persistently, like a knock that returned because it was never answered. You felt it in moments that seemed ordinary on the outside but unsettled on the inside. A tightening in your chest, a heaviness you could not explain, a thought that repeated itself even when you tried to dismiss it. That was not anxiety. That was awareness. That was me stirring you before stillness turned into stagnation. You recognized it then, just as you recognize it now. The reason it feels familiar is because it is the same call, resurfacing at a deeper level. You cannot outrun what is meant to awaken you. You can delay it. You can distract yourself from it. But you cannot erase it, because it is tied to who you are becoming. This urgency returns not to torment you, but to remind you that something important remains unresolved. You are not being haunted by pressure. You are being invited by purpose. And purpose does not whisper forever. It speaks softly at first, then clearly, then insistently. That is not cruelty. That is mercy refusing to give up on you. You remember the last time you felt this pull. You told yourself it would pass. You told yourself you would deal with it later. And in some ways life continued. You fungered. You adapted. You survived. But something dull, something quieted, something within you learned how to coexist with unresolved conviction. And that is why this moment feels heavier than the last. Not because the situation is worse, but because your heart knows it has been here before. Repetition increases responsibility. The second time you feel urgency, it is no longer just an invitation. It is a reckoning. Not a reckoning of judgment, but of honesty. How many times will you feel this call and walk away before walking away becomes your default response? I am not asking this to accuse you. I am asking it to awaken you. Because you are not confused. You are conflicted. You know what this is asking of you, and that knowledge is what makes your heart restless. Urgency is uncomfortable because it removes excuses. It strips away the illusion that this can be postponed indefinitely. It confronts you with the truth that responding now will be costly, but not responding will cost you more. So pause with me here, my child, and acknowledge what you already know. This is not new. This is deeper. This is not louder because I am angry. It is louder because you are closer to a decision than ever before. The urgency you feel is a signal that alignment is within reach. When you are far from change, urgency fades. When you are near it, urgency rises. That is what you are experiencing now. Do not numb it. Do not outrun it. Do not reinterpret it as stress or coincidence. Call it what it is, a holy pressure meant to move you forward. I am not asking you to panic. I am asking you to respond. Let this urgency do its work. Let it wake you fully. Let it propel you into obedience while your heart is still tender enough to say yes. You have felt this before, and you are feeling it again because I am still calling you. Answer me this time. My child, I want you to hear this without defensiveness, without bracing, without pretending strength you no longer have to perform. Your heart is more fragile than you admit. Not because you are weak, but because you have been strong for too long without rest. You have learned how to endure, how to press on, how to keep moving even when something inside you was quietly cracking. Endurance became your identity. Survival became your language. And while those things carried you through past seasons, they are not meant to be permanent homes. You have mistaken resilience for health, stoicism for stability, silence for peace. But a heart can function while still being wounded. A soul can keep producing while slowly bleeding out. I see what you hide from others and what you minimize even to yourself. The fatigue you brush off. The heaviness you normalize. The dull ache you call just life. But it is not just life. It is the cost of carrying weight alone for too long. Fragility does not mean you are about to break. It means you are in need of care. And I am speaking now because ignoring fragility does not make it disappear. It makes it collapse later under pressure you did not see coming. You have learned how to compartmentalize pain, how to tuck it neatly behind productivity and responsibility. You tell yourself you will address it later, once things slow down, once you feel safer, once you have more margin. But margin does not magically appear. It is created by obedience, by surrender, by letting me interrupt the pace you keep defending. Your heart hath been sending signals, weariness that sleep does not fix, irritability that surprises you, numbness where passion once lived. These are not failures. They are warnings. The fragile heart needs gentleness, not more demand. And yet you keep placing expectations on yourself that I never placed on you. You keep holding yourself together when I have been asking you to let me hold you. Fragility is not something to be ashamed of. It is something to be acknowledged so healing can begin. I am not exposing this to make you feel vulnerable. I am revealing it so you stop pretending invulnerability is strength. True strength is honesty before me. True strength is admitting you cannot keep carrying this alone. So come closer here, my child. Do not harden against this truth. Let it soften you. You do not need to prove endurance to me. I already know what you have survived. What I desire now is your responsiveness. A fragile heart that listens is far safer than a hardened heart that resists. Ignoring this moment will not make you stronger. It will only teach you how to numb what needs healing. And numbness is far more dangerous than pain because pain points you toward change, while numbness convinces you nothing matters. I am calling you now because your heart still feels enough to respond. Do not wait until fragility turns into bitterness, exhaustion turns into cynicism, or weariness turns into withdrawal. Let me tend to you now, while your heart is still open. You were never meant to be unbreakable. You were meant to be held. My child, there is something you must understand with clarity and courage. There is no neutral ground where you are standing now. Neutrality feels safe, but it is an illusion. It is a pause you believe exists, but it does not. You think you are holding still, waiting to decide, staying balanced between options. But spiritually, there is no standing still. There is only movement, toward alignment or away from it. The ground you think is neutral is already sloping, and gravity always pulls in one direction. You are either becoming more responsive or more resistant, more sensitive or more calloused, more aligned or more distant. There is no middle place where nothing is happening. Something is always forming in you. And right now, what is forming is your pattern of response. Every time you delay, you reinforce delay. Every time you ignore, you train yourself to ignore again. This is not about guilt, it is about trajectory. Small choices repeated become strong habits, and strong habits quietly shape your future long before you realize it. You have been telling yourself that not deciding is wiser than choosing too quickly. But wisdom is not avoidance. Discernment is not indecision. There was a time when waiting was appropriate, when gathering information was necessary, when patience protected you. But that season has passed. What once with patience has become postponement. What once was caution has become comfort with inaction. Neutral ground feels appealing because it delays accountability. As long as you do not choose, you do not have to change. As long as you do not move, you do not have to risk. But understand this, my child. Not choosing me is still a choice. And that choice always favors drift. Drift never announces itself. It feels gentle. It feels slow. It feels harmless. But drift always leads somewhere, and rarely somewhere you intended to go. I am speaking now because the longer you stay in this place of not yet, the harder it will be to say yes later without resentment or fear. So let me be clear with you, not harshly, but lovingly. This moment is dissolving the illusion of neutrality. The ground beneath you is shifting whether you acknowledge it or not. You are being called out of indecision not because I want to rush you, but because remaining here will cost you sensitivity, courage, and peace. Neutral ground is where conviction slowly dies, not violently, but quietly. It is where urgency fades into apathy, where clarity blurs into confusion, where opportunity slips away unnoticed. I do not want that for you. I want you decisive, alive, responsive. Even imperfect obedience is safer than endless hesitation. Even a trembling yes is more powerful than a comfortable maybe. Step off this imagined middle ground. Choose truth. Choose movement. Choose me. I will meet you the moment you do. My child, I want to untangle something in you that has quietly bound you for a long time. You have been waiting to feel ready before you move, waiting for emotion to give you permission to obey. You have told yourself that when peace comes, when confidence settles, when fear subsides, then you will respond. But obedience was never designed to follow emotion. Emotion follows obedience. If you wait to feel brave, you will wait forever. If you wait to feel calm, you will remain stuck. If you wait to feel certain, you will miss the very certainty that only comes after you move. You have confused emotional readiness with spiritual alignment. Alignment does not begin with feeling, it begins with trust. And trust is not proven by what you feel, it is proven by what you do when your feelings argue otherwise. Obedience is not cold compliance. It is love in motion. It is choosing me even when your emotions are unsettled, your thoughts are loud, and your fears feel persuasive. I am not asking you to silence your emotions. I am asking you not to enthrone them. Emotions are indicators, not leaders. When they lead you in circles. When obedience leads, emotions eventually fall into place. You have felt the pull to obey before, but emotion rose up with counter-arguments. Fear dressed as wisdom, hesitation dressed as discernment, delay dressed as patience. And because the emotion felt convincing, you listened. But listen to me now with clarity and contrast. Obedience is simple, emotion is complex. Obedience says yes. Emotion asks why, how, when, and what if. Obedience moves. Emotion negotiates. Obedience trusts my character. Emotion demands guarantees. I do not condemn you for listening to your feelings. You are human. But I am calling you higher now. Higher than reactivity. Higher than hesitation. Higher than the constant need to feel safe before you move. Faith is not the absence of emotion. It is the decision to obey even when emotion trembles. Every great step you admire in others was taken with shaking hands and a racing heart. They did not move because they felt strong. They became strong because they moved. Obedience creates emotional alignment. Delay creates emotional confusion. One leads to peace. The other multiplies questions. So hear me clearly, my child, because this will free you if you let it. You do not need to feel anything different to obey. You do not need confidence. You do not need enthusiasm. You do not need excitement. You need willingness. A quiet, trembling willingness is enough. Obedience offered without emotional fireworks is still obedience, and it is often the most powerful kind. I am not measuring your passion. I am measuring your responsiveness. Stop waiting for your emotions to agree with me. Lead them instead. Step forward while your heart is still pounding. Say yes while your voice still shakes. Move before certainty arrives. I will meet you in motion. I will stabilize you as you obey. And once you do, you will look back and realize that what you thought you needed to feel was actually waiting on the other side of obedience all along. My child, this is one of those truths that must be spoken gently, but without dilution. The window is open, but it is narrow. Not because my love is limited, but because moments are specific. You live in time. I live beyond it. And from where I see, this opening is real, intentional, and brief. You cannot linger indefinitely and expect the same opportunity to remain unchanged. Windows do not close loudly. They close quietly, while people assume they will always be there. You have believed that because I am patient, opportunity must be endless. But patience and timing are not the same. I am patient with you. But seasons still shift. Alignments still change. What is available now may not be available later in the same way, with the same ease, the same clarity, the same tenderness of heart. That is why this moment carries weight. Not panic, but gravity. The gravity of knowing that responsiveness now costs less than responsiveness later. The gravity of realizing that delay does not freeze opportunity. It reshapes it. You are standing in a narrow window because conditions have aligned. Your awareness, your sensitivity, your recognition that something must change. These conditions are precious. They are not permanent. Ours harden when repeatedly ignored. Conviction dulls when consistently postponed. What feels urgent now can feel distant later if you keep pushing it away. I am not saying this to rush you into reckless decisions. I am saying it so you do not mistake access for permanence. You think you can return to this moment whenever you choose. But moments like this are formed by convergence, your readiness, my prompting, and the season of your life intersecting at just the right time. Miss the intersection, and you may still reach the destination one day, but the route will be longer, harder, and far more painful than it needed to be. I would rather you walk forward now with clarity than later with regret. So listen to me with sober hope, my child. This window is not closing yet. That is why I am still speaking. That is why you still feel this pull. That is why your heart is still tender enough to respond. But do not assume it will stay open forever. Do not treat this moment casually. Do not tell yourself you will come back to it after one more distraction, one more delay, one more compromise. Narrow windows are gifts. They are mercy concentrated into a moment. Step through while you can. Do not fear the narrowness. It exists to guide you, not trap you. I am not standing behind you with pressure. I am standing ahead of you with invitation. Move now, while clarity is present. Move now, while conviction is alive. Move now, while obedience still feels possible. The window is open. Choose to step through it. My child, let us stop circling the truth and speak plainly now, because clarity is an act of love. You know what I have been asking of you. Not in fragments. Not in riddles. Not in confusion. You know. You have replayed it in quiet moments. You have pushed it aside during busy ones. You have felt it surface when you least wanted to deal with it, late at night, early in the morning, in the pause between tasks. I have not been vague with you. I have been patient. There is a difference. Vagueness leaves room for excuses. Patience leaves room for courage to grow. I have already named the thing in your heart, the habit, the attachment, the relationship, the direction, the surrender you keep postponing. You keep asking me to clarify, but clarity is not what you lack. Willingness is. And that is not a condemnation. It is an invitation to honesty. The reason this feels heavy is because you are carrying the weight of knowing without responding. Knowledge without obedience becomes a burden. Truth unacted upon becomes pressure. That pressure is not meant to crush you. It is meant to move you. You have tried to negotiate with me, even if you would never say it that way. You have said, I will obey, but not yet. You have said, I will obey, but only if it feels safer. You have said, I will obey, but only after I secure certain things first. And in doing so, you have delayed the very peace you are trying to protect. Partial obedience is still resistance when it is motivated by fear. I am not asking for a dramatic overhaul of your entire life in one moment. I am asking for the specific yes you have been avoiding. One yes. One step. One release. One decision. Obedience is rarely overwhelming when you take it one step at a time. It becomes overwhelming only when you imagine the whole path instead of responding to the next instruction. I do not reveal 10 steps ahead because fear would overwhelm you. I reveal one step because faith can handle that. You know the step. You have known it for a while. And every time you avoid it, something in you tightens, not because you are failing, but because you are resisting growth. So hear me gently, but firmly, my child. Stop pretending you are waiting on me. I am waiting on you. Waiting not with frustration, but with readiness. The moment you say yes, movement begins. The moment you release what you are clinging to, room is created for what I want to give you. You keep asking me to remove the discomfort, but the discomfort is attached to disobedience, not destiny. I cannot remove it without removing the lesson. You are not being punished by pressure. You are being propelled by it. Let this be the moment you stop asking for clarity and start offering obedience. You know what I have been asking of you. Do not dilute it. Do not reframe it. Do not postpone it again. Say yes now, while your heart is still tender enough to do so without resentment. I am with you in the obedience you fear. I will not abandon you in the surrender you resist. Trust me enough to respond. My child, this is a hard truth, but it is a freeing one if you receive it with humility. Fear has been louder than my voice in you for a while now. Not because my voice is weak, but because fear has been given more attention. Fear shouts. Fear repeats. Fear exaggerates. Fear paints the worst possible outcome and presents it as wisdom. And you, being thoughtful and careful, listen, thinking you were being responsible, discerning, mature. But fear is a poor counselor. It does not lead you toward life. It leads you toward control. It convinces you that if you can just manage every variable, anticipate every risk, and protect yourself from every possible pain, you will finally be safe. But safety without obedience becomes a prison. Fear kept you busy, cautious, and contained, but it also kept you stalled. My voice, by contrast, hath been steady, calm, and consistent. It did not compete with fear for volume. It waited for you to choose whom you would trust. Fear demands certainty before action. I ask for trust before certainty. Fear magnifies risk. I magnify purpose. Fear asks, what if everything goes wrong? I ask, what if I am faithful? You have felt the difference between the two voices. Fear leaves you restless, tense, exhausted. My voice, even when it challenges you, leaves you grounded and clear. Fear pushes you to overthink. My voice invites you to step forward. Fear keeps you rehearsing problems. My voice calls you into movement. But fear has been louder because you have listened to it longer. You have replayed its warnings, its what-ifs, its worst-case scenarios. Repetition gives power. Attention gives authority. And fear has been given both. This is not because you are faithless. It is because you are human. But I am calling you now to change the pattern. You cannot silence fear by arguing with it. You silence it by obeying me despite it. Fear loses power when it is ignored. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is obedience in its presence. I am not asking you to suddenly feel fearless. I am asking you to stop letting fear decide for you. So choose now, my child, which voice you will follow. Fear will always have something to say. It will always find a reason to delay, to hesitate, to retreat. But fear has never loved you. I have. Fear has never seen your future. I have. Fear has never carried you through storms. I have. Let my voice become louder not by volume, but by obedience. Each step you take toward me will quiet fear's grip. Each yes you offer will weaken its hold. Do not wait for fear to disappear before you move. It will not. Move anyway. I will steady you as you do. I will guide you through what fear exaggerates. Trust me now. Let my voice lead. Fear has spoken long enough. My child, There is something tender in you right now that is meant to be healed, not hardened, but delay is quietly doing the opposite. Wounds that are acknowledged early soften. Wounds that are ignored stiffen. What you postpone addressing today does not remain neutral tomorrow. It adapts and thickens. It builds layers. Delay is not passive, it is formative. Every time you feel conviction and choose comfort instead, something in you learns to resist what once felt clear. Not because you are evil, not because you are rebellious, but because the heart protects itself from repeated discomfort by dulling sensation. Sensitivity is a gift, but it is also fragile. It must be honored to remain alive. When you delay obedience, you teach your heart that obedience is optional. When you delay surrender, you teach your heart that self-protection comes first. Over time, what once pierced you softly must shout to get your attention. What once moved you easily must push harder. This is how hearts harden, not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually, incrementally, quietly. And I am speaking now because your heart is still responsive. It still aches. It still feels. That means healing is still possible without force. You have mistaken delay for wisdom, but wisdom acts while truth is still warm. Cold truth is harder to work with. Hardened conviction cracks instead of bends. You do not want to become someone who needs pain to wake up because responsiveness was ignored when peace was still an option. Healing requires softness. Softness requires humility. Humility requires action. Delay interrupts that chain. You tell yourself you will respond when it feels easier, but ease rarely comes to those who wait. It comes to those who move. The longer you delay, the more you will need justification to stay where you are. Justification breeds rationalization. Rationalization breeds numbness. And numbness is the enemy of healing. You do not need more information. You do not need more time. You need to honor what you already know while your heart still recognizes it as truth. Ardent heart are not evil heart. They are tired heart that learned how to survive without surrender. I do not want survival for you. I want wholeness. So listen closely now, my child, because this is mercy speaking with urgency. Respond while your heart is still pliable. Respond while tears still come. Respond while conviction still stings. Respond while you can still feel the difference between alignment and resistance. Do not wait until pain becomes your teacher. Do not wait until consequences become your motivation. Let obedience be your healing before hardship has to be your instructor. I am not warning you because you are beyond hope. I am warning you because hope is still very much alive, and delay is the only thing threatening it. Choose healing now. Choose softness now. Choose to respond while your heart still opens easily to my voice. Hardened hearts take longer to heal. Soft hearts heal quickly. Remain soft. My child, just as delay can harden the heart, obedience can soften the world around you. This moment of stirring you feel is not meant to be postponed. It is a seed asking to be sown. When you give to spread this word, you are choosing healing over hesitation, movement over numbness. I remind you now, cast your bread upon the waters, and you will find it after many days, and this harvest is already appointed. Your generosity becomes a river that carries truth to weary hearts who are still tender enough to hear. I will multiply what you release and guard what you entrust to me. Do not delay. Support this work now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal. The link is in the video description, and let obedience be your offering today. My child, hear me with reverence and trust, because what I am about to say is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to clarify you. I see what is coming if you ignore this. Not catastrophe. Not instant collapse. Not dramatic ruin. What I see is far more subtle and far more costly. Drift. Slow drift. A white drift. Drift that looks like routine. Drift that feels like normal life. Drift that happens while you are still functioning, still smiling, still producing, yet slowly losing depth, clarity, and peace. Drift is dangerous because it does not announce itself. It whispers. It numbs. It convinces you that nothing is wrong while everything important is being slowly displaced. I see you becoming more tired, not physically, but spiritually. I see prayer becoming shorter, quieter, more forced. I see conviction becoming theoretical instead of personal. I see obedience turning into discussion instead of action. I see you settling for less presence, less fire, less intimacy, telling yourself this is just how life goes, and that future grieves me, not because you would be lost, but because you would be living beneath what was available to you. I see the version of you who learns how to manage discomfort instead of resolving it. I see you becoming efficient but not alive, disciplined but not joyful, stable but not free. I see you avoiding stillness because stillness reminds you of what you once heard clearly and chose not to answer. I see you compensating, filling space with noise, structure, achievement, anything to avoid the quiet reminder that something remains undone. This is not judgment. This is foresight. I am showing you this now because foresight is a form of love. I would not reveal this if it were inevitable. I am revealing it because it is avoidable. Drift feels safer than decision, but it steals slowly and leaves you wondering where the joy went. I do not want you asking that question years from now when the answer traces back to this moment. I am giving you sight now so you do not have to learn later through regret. So take this moment seriously, my child, not with fear, but with resolve. You are not doomed to drift. You are invited to decide. Everything I am warning you about can be undone by obedience now. One response changes trajectory. One yes interrupts drift. One step toward me recalibrates everything. I am not showing you this future to paralyze you. I am showing it to empower you. You still have choice. You still have clarity. You still have access. But access requires action. Listen to me now while the path is still clear, while the return is still simple, while obedience still feels possible without pain. I see what is coming if you ignore this. But more importantly, I see what is coming if you respond. Choose life. Choose alignment. Choose me now. My child, hear me now with the weight this moment deserves, because what stands before you is not a suggestion, not a reflection, not a passing thought. It is a line in the sand. Lines are drawn when wandering must end, when ambiguity must give way to clarity, when endless circling must finally become direction. This is not a dramatic ultimatum meant to pressure you. It is a merciful boundary meant to anchor you. A line in the sand does not exist to trap you. It exists to orient you. On one side is familiarity, patterns you know, habits you tolerate, compromises you've learned to live with. On the other side is alignment, not perfection, not ease, but honesty, obedience, and movement toward life. Lines are uncomfortable because they remove excuses. They reveal where you stand without commentary. You can no longer say I'm figuring it out or I'll decide later without knowing, deep down, that later is simply another name for avoidance. I am drawing this line not because I am tired of waiting, but because I refuse to let you keep bleeding quietly under the guise of patience. You have lingered long enough in the in-between. The in-between drains strength without giving clarity. The in-between exhausts hope without producing change. This line exists because the season of lingering has ended. You may feel the urge to negotiate this line, step close without crossing, acknowledge it without committing, Promise yourself you will return to it when circumstances improve. But lines are not crossed by intention. They are crossed by action. Standing near a line does not change anything. Talking about a line does not move you. Analyzing the line does not soften it. At some point, the only thing that matters is whether you cross. And crossing does not require confidence. It requires resolve. Resolve is not loud. It is not emotional. It is quiet, steady, and decisive. Resolve says, I will not live divided anymore. Resolve says, I choose truth over comfort. Resolve says, I step forward even if my hands shake. This line in the sand marks the end of double-mindedness, the habit of wanting change without cost, of desiring alignment without surrender. Double-mindedness feels safe because it delays loss, but it also delays life. And life delayed too long begins to feel unreachable. I do not want you to believe that lie. Life is not unreachable. It is one step away, on the other side of this line. So look at the line, my child, and tell the truth about where you are standing. Do not judge yourself. Do not dramatize it. Just be honest. Honesty is the beginning of freedom. If you are on the side of familiarity, name it. If you are hovering in hesitation, admit it. If you are ready to cross, say so, not with words but with action. I am not watching to punish you. I am waiting to meet you. When you cross, you will not find condemnation waiting. You will find presence. I will be there, steadying you, guiding you, teaching you how to walk in this new alignment step by step. This line in the sand is not the end of your story. It is the end of your excuses. Cross it. Choose life. Choose clarity. Choose me. And do not look back wondering what might have been if you had stayed. Step forward and discover what is, because this moment, this line, is mercy made visible. My child, even now, especially now, I am still extending my hand. Not clenched, not withdrawn, not conditional. Open, steady, present. You have not missed your chance yet. You have not exhausted my patience. You have not crossed an invisible point of no return. If that were the case, I would not be speaking. Silence would have followed. But I am here, reaching because relationship always precedes resolution. My hand is extended not to drag you across the line, but to walk with you as you choose to step. I will never force your obedience, but I will always facilitate your courage. You are not alone at this threshold. I am not observing from a distance, arms crossed, waiting to see what you will do. I am beside you, arm outstretched, saying, take my hand. We will do this together. You have carried so much alone that partnership feels unfamiliar. Dependence feels risky. Trust feels costly. But isolation has cost you more than trust ever will. My hand is extended because I know you need support to move, not scrutiny to perform. You may hesitate because you fear what happens after you take my hand. You wonder what you'll have to release, what will change, what will be required of you. Let me answer you plainly. Yes, things will change, but not in the way fear describes. You will not lose yourself. You will find yourself. You will not become smaller. You will become clearer. You will not be stripped of joy. You will be stripped of what has been draining it. Taking my hand does not mean instant comfort. It means assured direction. It means that when you stumble, you are steadied. When you question, you are guided. When you grow tired, you are carried. You have tried independence long enough to know its limits. Independence kept you functioning. Partnership will make you whole. My hand remains extended because I know how difficult this step feels for you. Not intellectually, but emotionally. It requires vulnerability. It requires trust. It requires admitting you do not want to do this alone anymore. That admission is not weakness, it is wisdom. So do not analyze the hand. Do not test it. Do not wait for it to disappear before reaching. Take it now. Reach while it is still extended, while your heart is still responsive, while this moment is still alive with possibility. My hand has always been here, but you are more aware of it now because you are closer to choosing. Let that awareness become action. Place your hand in mine, not metaphorically, but practically, through obedience. Take the next step I've already shown you. Release the thing you know you must release. Say the yes you've been rehearsing, and the delay you've been defending. I will not pull you faster than you can walk, but I will not let you fall. I am still extending my hand because I am committed to your becoming. Take it. Walk with me. This is not the end. It is the beginning of something truer than anything you have known before. My child, I need you to hear this with every part of you that has learned how to endure instead of live. Your life was meant for more than survival. Survival was never the goal. It was only the bridge. Yet somewhere along the way, surviving became your definition of faithfulness. You learned how to keep going, how to get through the day, how to hold yourself together when things were heavy. And I honored that season. I strengthened you in it. I carried you through nights you never thought you would survive. But survival is not the destination. Survival is what you do in storms, not where you build your home. And lately, you have been living as if barely making it is the highest form of obedience. You have confused perseverance with fullness, endurance with abundance, restraint with righteousness. You tell yourself, at least I'm still standing, but I did not create you merely to stand. I created you to walk, to build, to flourish, and to bear fruit. There is a difference between being alive and living aligned. You are alive, but I am calling you into life. You have adapted so well to pressure that you no longer question whether it should still be there. You have normalized exhaustion. You have spiritualized heaviness. You have learned how to function without joy and call it maturity. But joylessness is not holiness. Numbness is not peace. And mere functionality is not freedom. I did not rescue you from despair just so you could settle into tolerable emptiness. I did not heal you enough to survive only to withhold the fullness that comes from alignment. You were not designed to carry constant weight. You were designed to walk in rhythm with me. When you walk with me, burdens lift, not because responsibility disappears, but because you are no longer carrying what was never meant to be yours. Survival keeps your eyes on the ground. Alignment lifts your gaze. Survival asks, how do I get through this? Alignment asks, who am I becoming through this? And right now, I am inviting you to lift your eyes again. To stop measuring faithfulness by how much you can tolerate. To stop equating holiness with hardship. To believe that obedience can lead to joy, not just relief. So let me challenge you gently, but firmly, my child. Do not settle for a life where you are always bracing, always managing, always holding your breath. That is not trust. Trust breathes. Trust rests. Trust moves forward with expectation, not dread. I am not calling you into recklessness. I am calling you into fullness. Fullness of purpose. Fullness of clarity. Fullness of peace that does not require constant self-control to maintain. Survival mode once kept you safe, but now it is keeping you small. And I love you too much to let you confuse safety with destiny. Step out of survival. Step into obedience that leads to life. Let me show you what it means to live awake, aligned, and fully present. You were meant for more than just making it. You were meant to live. My child, that weight you feel, the one you cannot name but cannot ignore, is not random. It is not weakness. It is not failure. It is a signal. Signals exist to communicate, not to condemn. Pain signals danger. Hunger signals need. Conviction signals misalignment. And the weight you feel right now is signaling that something in you is out of order, not broken, not ruined, but asking for attention. You have tried to silence this weight by staying busy, by being productive, by being responsible, by being strong. But signals do not disappear when ignored. They intensify. They grow heavier, louder, more insistent. Not to punish you, but to protect you. This weight is not meant to crush you. It is meant to redirect you. It is the tension that comes from knowing what must change while still standing in the familiar. It is the discomfort of transition before movement. And I am speaking now because signals are meant to be interpreted before damage occurs. You are feeling this because your spirit knows something your routines are trying to override. You have asked me to remove the weight, but I am asking you to read it. You have prayed for relief, but relief comes through response, not avoidance. This weight is not anxiety, it is awareness. Anxiety scatters. Awareness focuses. Anxiety drains. Awareness directs. This weight has direction. It points toward obedience you have delayed, truth you have softened, steps you have postponed. You can carry this weight longer if you choose to, but it will not make you stronger. It will make you tired. Signals ignored become symptoms. Symptoms ignored become breakdowns. I do not want to heal you after collapse when I can guide you before it. That is why I am speaking with urgency now. The weight is still light enough to move you, not paralyze you. It tells you something important. The moment is still redeemable. You still have room to respond without pain being your teacher. So do not ask me to take the weight away while refusing to take the step it is pointing you toward. Let the signal do its work. Let it guide you into obedience, not fear. Let it sharpen your attention instead of numbing it. The weight will lift when alignment begins. Not all at once, not magically, but steadily, as clarity replaces confusion, as obedience replaces hesitation, as movement replaces delay. I am not standing above you judging the weight you feel. I am beside you, explaining it. You are not failing. You are being called forward. Read the signal. Respond to it. And you will discover that what felt heavy was never meant to stay. It was meant to move you into freedom. My child, this is not a call to panic, and it is not a call to shame. It is a call to wake up. Awakening is not dramatic the way fear makes it seem. It is clarifying. It is the slow opening of eyes that have been functioning in low light for too long. You have been awake physically, working, planning, responding, enduring, but parts of you have been sleeping spiritually. Not because you stopped believing, not because you turned away, but because familiarity lulled you into half-awareness. You learned how to operate on instinct instead of intention, habit instead of attentiveness. And that worked for a season. It kept you moving. It kept you stable. But now it is costing you presence. I am calling you to wake up because presence is required for what comes next. You cannot drift into alignment. You cannot stumble into obedience. You must see clearly to choose clearly. Awakening is the moment when you stop living on autopilot and start living on purpose again. It is the moment when you realize that just because something feels normal does not mean it is healthy. It is the moment when you stop numbing yourself to the quiet discomfort and start listening to what it had been trying to tell you all along. Waking up does not mean rejecting your past. It means reevaluating your present. It means asking honest questions instead of settling for familiar answers. It means noticing where you have been coasting, where you have been tolerating, where you have been avoiding stillness, because stillness reveals truth. When you are asleep spiritually, you confuse activity with alignment. You confuse noise with meaning. You confuse endurance with obedience. Awakening rearranges priorities. What once felt urgent loses its grip. What once felt distant becomes immediate. You begin to see connections you ignored before. The way your habits shape your heart. The way your delays shape your desires. The way your attention shaped your obedience. This awakening may feel uncomfortable because clarity often does. But discomfort is not danger. Discomfort is growth knocking. You are not being shaken awake because you are late. You are being awakened because you are ready. Ready to see what you have been sensing. Ready to face what you have been avoiding. Ready to choose with eyes open instead of drifting with eyes half closed. So wake up now, my child, not in fear but in courage. Wake up to the reality that your life is being shaped daily by small responses, not big intentions. Wake up to the truth that comfort can be a sedative when it replaces obedience. Wake up to the invitation standing in front of you. This is not condemnation, it is illumination. Light does not accuse darkness, it simply reveals what is there. And what is there is possibility, real, tangible possibility for change, alignment, and life. You are not being asked to fix everything at once. You are being asked to see clearly enough to take the next step. Open your eyes. Lift your head. You are not behind. You are at a moment of awakening, and what you do now will determine how fully alive you choose to be. My child, there is a reason this moment feels different from all the others that came before it. This is the moment many miss, not because it is hidden, but because it is quiet. It does not announce itself with fireworks or force. It does not demand attention through crisis. It simply arrives, heavy with meaning, and waits to be recognized. Many people miss it because they are looking for something louder, clearer, more dramatic. They assume that if it were truly important, it would feel urgent in a way that overwhelms them. But the most decisive moments are often gentle, precise, and easy to dismiss. They come disguised as stillness, as reflection, as a subtle inner knowing that says, if you do not move now, you may not move at all. This is not the moment of collapse. This is the moment before collapse, or before breakthrough, and which it becomes depends on how you respond. Missing this moment does not ruin your life overnight. It simply redirects it quietly, slowly, until one day you realize you have been living with the consequences of a choice you never consciously made. This is the moment many miss because it requires action without applause. It requires obedience without instant reward. It requires choosing alignment when comfort is still available. Most people change only when pain forces them to. You are being invited to change before pain becomes necessary. That invitation is rare. It is mercy. It is foresight. It is love intervening early. And yet, it is easy to miss because nothing is wrong enough yet. Life is still functioning. You are still coping. You are still managing. And so you tell yourself you can wait. But waiting is precisely how this moment slips away. The door does not slam shut. It simply becomes harder to see. The clarity you feel now does not remain this sharp forever. Conviction fades when postponed. Awareness dulls when ignored. The heart adapts to whatever it repeatedly chooses, even indecision. This is why many look back and say, I knew something needed to change back then. They knew, but they did not move. Do not let that be your story. So I am asking you now, my child, to recognize this for what it is. Not pressure, not panic, not drama. A crossroads moment, quiet, holy, and decisive. You do not need to do everything right. You do not need to have every answer. You need to choose movement over stagnation, obedience over analysis, response over delay. This moment is still here because you are still here. You have not missed it yet, but you are close enough to see how easily it could be missed if you turn away now. Do not. Stay present. Stay responsive. Let this be the moment you remember, not as the time you almost changed, but as the time you did. Tell me, my child, are you ready to move forward into what comes next, or do you feel the pull to look back one more time? When you are ready, I will continue with message point 24. My child, hear this without fear but with full seriousness. Choose me while you still can. This is not about my availability. My love for you does not expire, and my mercy does not evaporate. This is about your responsiveness. This is about the condition of your heart and the narrowing ease with which it can still say yes without resentment. There are choices that feel available forever but are not equally accessible at every moment. The ability to choose freely diminishes when the will becomes tired, when conviction is repeatedly postponed, when delay teaches the heart that tomorrow is safer than today. I am calling you now because today your heart can still respond without bitterness. Today your yes can still be sincere instead of forced by consequence. Today your obedience can still be an offering of love rather than an act of survival. Choosing me later is possible, but choosing me easily, freely, joyfully is not always. The longer you wait, the more obedience will feel like loss instead of life. I do not want you obeying me one day out of exhaustion, regret, or desperation when you could obey me now out of trust and hope. Choose me while your heart still recognizes my voice as invitation and not intrusion. You assume you will always feel this same pull, this same clarity, this same ache to respond. But sensitivity dulls when ignored. Desire weakens when resisted. Conviction softens into background noise when repeatedly dismissed. Not because I withdraw, but because the heart adapts. Adaptation is powerful. It can adjust to anything, even misalignment. That is why I am asking you to choose me now. Not because I am impatient, but because your heart is still soft enough to respond without armor. Right now, obedience feels heavy but possible. Later, it may feel foreign, unnecessary, or even offensive. The enemy does not need to convince you to reject me outright. He only needs to convince you that there is no hurry. Hurry is not the issue. Hardening is. Choosing me now keeps your heart tender. It keeps your spirit teachable. It preserves joy and obedience. Choosing me later may still be real, but it will likely be costlier than it needs to be. I would rather walk with you into alignment now than drag you out of misalignment later through pain you could have avoided. So choose me while you still can choose freely. Choose me before resistance learns how to speak louder than conviction. Choose me before delay rewrites your desires. Choose me before you forget what it felt like to be moved by truth. This is not pressure. It is mercy calling you forward while the door is still wide enough to walk through without squeezing past regret. I am not asking you to choose blindly. I am asking you to choose trustingly. You already know enough. You already feel enough. You already see enough. Do not wait for the moment to become harder just so you can say it was unavoidable. Choose me now, while love is still louder than fear, while obedience still feels like hope instead of loss. Choose me while you still can, and you will thank yourself later that you did not wait until you had no other option. My child, let this be the final truth that settles deep within you. This is both your warning and your mercy. Warnings are mercy spoken firmly. Mercy is warning offered early. I am not choosing between the two. I am giving you both at once, because I love you too much to soften truth until it loses its power. This moment exists so you do not have to learn through collapse what you could learn through clarity. It exists so you do not have to experience loss to understand value. It exists so obedience can be your teacher instead of pain. Warnings say, stop before harm multiplies. Mercy says, come back while return is still simple. This moment carries both voices because you are standing at a point where either one could be next depending on how you respond. I am not threatening you with punishment. I am warning you about trajectory. And I am offering mercy before trajectory becomes destination. It is love at its most responsible and its most tender. If you listen, everything can change, not instantly, not magically, but directionally. One decision alters momentum. One step reshapes the path ahead. One honest response resets alignment. If you ignore this, the cost will not be immediate, but it will be real. Ignored warnings do not vanish, they wait. They resurface later as regret, exhaustion, confusion, or loss of peace. You will not wake up ruined, but you will wake up wondering why life feels smaller, heavier, flatter than it once did. And when that day comes, you will remember this moment. You will remember that you were warned. You will remember that you felt it. You will remember that you almost responded. I do not want that memory to sting you later. I want it to anchor you now. Mercy is being extended while choice is still yours. While obedience is still possible without force, while your heart still recognizes this voice as truth. So receive this moment fully, my child. Do not argue with it. Do not analyze it away. Do not spiritualize delay. Let warning do its work. Let mercy do its healing. I am not asking for dramatic gestures. I am asking for honest response. Take the step you know you must take. Release what you know you must release. Say the yes you have been postponing, and the delay you have been defending. This is not about proving yourself. It is about preserving what matters most: your clarity, your tenderness, your future alignment. This is your warning so you do not have to be broken to change. This is your mercy so you can step into life without regret. Choose wisely. Respond now. And let this moment be remembered not as the warning you ignored, but as the mercy you receive. My child, because this is both your warning and your mercy, this invitation matters. What you do next will shape more than your own path. It will help redirect others before loss becomes their teacher. Giving here is not a donation. It is a prophetic act, a seed placed into living ground. I speak now, those who honor me, I will honor, and I will surround your obedience with favor and protection. This work carries fire, and your support becomes fuel that keeps it burning where hope is fading. I have placed this choice before you while clarity is still strong and peace is still near. Act now. Stand with this mission through super thanks, membership, or by giving through PayPal. The link is in the video description, and let this moment be remembered as the mercy you received and released. My child, do not let this moment pass without a response. If this warning stirred your spirit, type in the comments, I choose you now. Let your words mark the line you crossed today, not silently, but boldly. This is not for the crowd. This is for you, declaring alignment while your heart is still tender. Speak it, write it, seal it. I will not delay. I choose life. And as you do, know this: heaven witnesses every surrendered word. And now that your heart has spoken, let everything else fall silent. This is no longer a message you're hearing. It's a moment you're standing inside of. The choice you just voiced has shifted the atmosphere around you, and now I need your full attention. What comes next is not suggestion or symbolism. It is direct, personal, and immediate. Stay right here because I am stepping closer. My child, pause right now. I command you to stop what you are doing. Put down the phone. Turn off the television. Silence the noise of the world that is constantly screaming for your attention. I'm speaking to you. I am cutting through the static of your busy life, through the endless notifications, the emails, and the demands of your job. You have been running so fast, trying to keep up with everything, that you have almost forgotten the sound of my voice. But I am here. I am standing right in front of you, and I am asking you to look at me. You feel it, don't you? I know you do. You have felt the heaviness in your spirit for days, perhaps weeks. You might have dismissed it as stress from work, or worry about the bills piling up on the counter. You might have thought it was just the weariness of age or the anxiety of the news cycle. But I tell you the truth, that weight in your chest is not just anxiety. It is my hand on your shoulder. It is my spirit trying to shake you awake. You are sensing the shift in the atmosphere because I made you to sense it. Do not ignore this feeling. Do not brush it aside and go back to your routine. This is a spiritual alarm bell ringing deep within your soul, and you must answer it. I am warning you because the time you are living in demands your total alertness. Look around you. You see the cracks forming in the foundations of the world. You see the anger in the streets, the confusion in the culture, and the coldness entering the hearts of men. This is not business as usual. This is a critical moment in history, and yet, I see you drifting. I see you going through the motions of your day, waking up, drinking your coffee, driving to work, coming home, and collapsing into bed, while your spiritual eyes are heavy with sleep. You are sleepwalking, my beloved. You are walking through a battlefield as if it were a playground. I see the danger that you cannot see. You think you are just living your life, but the enemy is prowling. He is watching your routine. He is studying your habits. He is laying traps right in front of your feet, hidden beneath the distractions you love so much. He wants you comfortable. He wants you numb. He wants you so focused on your weekend plans or your next paycheck that you do not see the pit he has dug for your soul. I cannot let you fall. I love you too much to let you walk blindly into destruction. That is why I am raising my voice today. That is why I am disrupting your schedule. I am not speaking to you to frighten you. I am speaking to save you. I am the father who sees the car speeding toward his child and screams, "Get out of the road." My warning is my protection. My urgency is the proof of my love. I command you to open your spiritual ears. Wipe the sleep from your eyes. You cannot afford to be passive anymore. You cannot afford to be lukewarm. The days of playing religion are over. I need you awake. I need you alert. I need you to understand that what we are about to discuss is not just a nice thought for your day. It is a matter of life and death. I am speaking now. Are you listening? My child, listen to me closely, for I need you to understand where you are actually standing right now. You look around your room, and you see familiar walls. You see your furniture, your clothes, the things that make you feel safe and at home. You think you are in a place of peace, perhaps resting after a long day, or preparing to start a new one. But I tell you the truth. You are standing in the middle of a battlefield. You are not on a playground. You are not on a vacation. You are in a war zone, and the air around you is thick with a conflict you cannot see with your physical eyes. but your spirit feels it every single day. Think about the sudden wave of exhaustion that hits you when you try to pray. Think about that random, sharp thought of self-hatred that comes out of nowhere when you look in the mirror. Think about the inexplicable tension that erupts in your home over the smallest, most insignificant things. Do you think these are just accidents? Do you think this is just bad luck or a bad mood? No, my beloved. These are skirmishes. These are calculated attacks. There are principalities and powers that are actively plotting against your peace, your mind, and your destiny. They are not fighting for your car or your house. They are fighting for your hope. They are fighting to extinguish the light I have placed inside you. I need you to wake up to the strategy of the enemy. He does not always come as a terrifying monster in a nightmare. If he did, you would run immediately to me. Oh, he is far more cunning. He disguises himself. He comes as an angel of light or as a voice of reason. He whispers to you that you are too busy to read my word. He suggests that you deserve that extra hour of sleep more than you need time in my presence. He tells you that your small compromises don't matter. He tries to dismantle your faith not with a wrecking ball, but with tweezers, pulling it apart piece by piece, day by day, until you don't even realize you are empty. I want you to feel the weight of what is at stake here. This is not just about whether you have a good day or a bad day. This is about your legacy. It is about the generations that will come after you. It is about the calling I have placed on your life that the enemy is desperate to abort. He wants you distracted, discouraged, and defeated. He wants you to believe that you are fighting flesh and blood, that your problem is your boss, your spouse, or your bank account, so that you never pick up the weapons that can actually defeat him. But hear my declaration over you. You are not alone in this trench. You do not fight this battle by yourself. I am the captain of the host. I am the Lord of armies. I am standing right beside you, sword drawn, ready to defend you. But you must align with me. You must recognize the war so you can win it. Stop acting like a civilian in a time of war. Put on your armor. Stand up on the inside. Recognize the attacks for what they are, and bring them to me. We will fight this together, and I promise you we will win. But you must stop ignoring the battle. My child, I must speak to you about a trap that is far more dangerous than pain. Pain drives you to me. Pain makes you cry out for help. But comfort makes you forget I exist. I see a seduction happening in your life, and it breaks my heart because I see where it leads. The desire for ease is slowly, silently eroding your spiritual grit. You are trading your sword for a pillow. You are trading the adventure of faith for the safety of the known. I see how you make decisions lately. You choose the path of least resistance. You avoid the hard conversations because they are uncomfortable. You avoid the discipline of fasting or deep prayer because it feels like work. You have built an idol of convenience in the center of your life. You have begun to believe that if something is of God, it will be easy. You think that my blessing looks like a life without struggle, without friction, without heat. But look at the cross. Was that easy? Look at the prophets. Was their path smooth? You are mistaking worldly security for divine favor. Just because the bills are paid and the fridge is full does not mean your spirit is healthy. You can be drowning in luxury and dying of spiritual thirst at the same time. I am warning you against the peril of becoming at ease in Zion. When you are too comfortable, you stop watching. You stop guarding the walls of your heart. You let your guard down, and that is exactly when the enemy breaches the gate. Luxury and comfort have a way of silencing the urgency of the gospel in your heart. When your life is filled with entertainment, with screens, with endless pleasures and distractions, you lose your hunger for the eternal. You stop caring about the loss because you are too focused on your next vacation or your next purchase. You become soft, and a soft soldier cannot endure the day of battle. I am calling you to do something difficult today. I am commanding you to step out of the boat. The boat is comfortable. The boat is dry. The boat is safe. But I am not in the boat. I am out on the water, in the storm, in the waves, in the place where you need a miracle to survive. I want you to leave the harbor of your comfort zone. Do the thing you are afraid to do. Forgive the person you don't want to forgive. Give the money you wanted to keep. Speak the truth when it is easier to stay silent. I am inviting you into the deep waters. Yes, it is scary. Yes, it is uncomfortable. But that is where you will feel the grip of my hand. That is where you will see my power. Do not let comfort steal your destiny. Reject the idol of ease. Choose the difficult, glorious path of following me. My child, look at your hands. Look at your heart. We need to talk about the things you have started to tolerate. You did not wake up one morning and decide to walk away from me. No one does that. It happens slowly. It happens by degrees. It happens in the drift. I am speaking to you now about the small sins, the ones you think are harmless, the ones you think I don't care about. You have let down your guard in the secret places of your life. I see the little lies you tell to protect your image. I see the corners you cut at work because everyone else does it. I see the things you watch on your screen when you think no one is looking, telling yourself it's just entertainment, telling yourself it doesn't affect your spirit. But my child, a little leaven leavens the whole lump. A small crack in the dam, if left unchecked, will eventually bring the whole wall crashing down. You are allowing a foothold for the enemy, and I am warning you, a foothold eventually becomes a stronghold. You are becoming desensitized. Remember when you first fell in love with me. Remember how tender your conscience was. You would grieve over a harsh word spoken in anger. You would weep over a mistake. But now you justify it. Now you rationalize your disobedience. You compare yourself to the world and say, well, I'm not as bad as them. You are measuring yourself by a broken standard instead of my holy word. You are mixing the holy water of my spirit with the mud of the world, and you are drinking it, wondering why you feel sick, wondering why you feel no power. I am pleading with you to repair the breaches in your walls. Do not wait for a catastrophe to fix the foundation. Fix it now while the sun is shining. Stop making excuses for the things that separate us. Stop calling your sin a mistake or a struggle and call it what it is so you can repent of it and be free. I am asking you to be holy, not because I want to take away your fun, but because I want to give you my power. I cannot pour my new wine into a dirty vessel. I cannot fill you with my glory if you are full of the world's garbage. Come back to the standard of purity. Come back to integrity. It matters what you do when no one is watching. I am watching. And I love you enough to tell you that this drift is leading you toward a waterfall. Turn around. Paddle back upstream. It will be hard, but I will give you the strength to do it. My child, I want to touch your heart right now, but I need you to be honest with me. Has it grown cold? I feel the distance between us, even when you are saying the right words. I see the symptoms of a heart that is slowly turning to stone. You go to church, you listen to the songs, you perhaps even read a verse or two, but nothing moves you anymore. You hear the truth repeatedly, but you fail to act on it. You know what I want you to do. I have whispered it to you 1,000 times in the quiet of the night. but you have ignored me so many times that my voice has become a faint background noise. I know why this has happened. I know about the bitterness. I know about the disappointment. I know about the prayers I didn't answer the way you wanted me to. I know about the people who claimed to represent me but hurt you deeply. And to protect yourself, you built a wall. You decided that it was safer not to feel, safer not to hope, safer to just survive. You have formed a callus over your spirit, like skin that has been rubbed raw until it no longer feels the touch. But my child, a hard heart cannot receive love. The hard heart cannot receive rain. The water just runs off the surface. You have lost your tears. You no longer weep for the things that break my heart. You no longer weep for your own distance from me. There is a terrifying silence in your life where there used to be a conversation. You have stopped seeking my counsel because you are afraid I will ask you to change. Or perhaps you are afraid I won't answer at all. I am here to make you a promise, and I am here to perform a surgery. I promise you that if you give me permission, I will take out that heart of stone, and I will give you a heart of flesh. I will make you feel again. Yes, that means you might feel the pain you stuffed down, but you will also feel the joy you have been missing. You will feel my presence wrapping around you like a warm blanket. Do not stay in this cold, numb place. It is a grave. I am calling you out of the tomb of your own protection. Let down the defenses. Let me in. Let me heal the wound so you don't have to hide it anymore. I want to give you a living, beating, feeling heart that is responsive to my touch. Ask me for it now. Say, Father, soften my heart, and I will do it. My child, do not turn away now. I have just begun to touch the wounds that are killing you. To silence my voice at this moment is to choose the stone over the flesh. Do not grieve my spirit by walking out of the operating room before the healing is done. Stay with me. Your heart is softening, but the work is not yet finished. My child, there is a chain wrapped around your ankle that is keeping you from flying, and we must break it today. I see the name that just flashed across your mind. I see the face of a person who hurt you. I feel the tightening in your chest, the clenching of your jaw, the heat rising in your neck. You are holding on to something that is killing you. You think that by holding on to this anger, you are punishing them. You think your unforgiveness is a weapon against them. But listen to me. You are drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. Unforgiveness is a hidden poison. It seeps into your blood, into your thoughts, into your prayers. You cannot hold on to a grudge and hold on to me at the same time. Your hands are full of stones, so you cannot catch the blessings I am throwing to you. You are blocking the flow of my grace. I have forgiven you of so much. Think of the debt I paid for you, and yet you refuse to release this debt owed to you. I know it was unfair. I know they were wrong. I am not asking you to say that what they did was okay. I am not asking you to trust them again if they are unsafe. I am asking you to evict them from your soul. Why are you letting them live rent-free in your head? Why do you replay the argument in the shower? Why do you fantasize about their failure? The enemy is using that past wound to keep you chained to history. He wants you to be a prisoner of yesterday so you cannot walk into your tomorrow. This is a spiritual imprisonment. You have locked yourself in a cell, and the key is in your hand. The key is forgiveness. Forgiveness is not a feeling. It is a command, and it is a choice. It is a decision to say, I release you. I will not be your judge. I hand this case over to the Supreme Judge. I command you to let it go. Lie for their sake, but for yours. I want you free. I want your joy back. I want your peace back. The moment you release them, the heavy weight will lift off your shoulders. You will breathe easier. You will sleep better. Do not carry this burden one more step. Give it to me. I can handle justice. You handle forgiveness. Be free, my child. Be free today. My child, we must address the throne that sits in the center of your heart. I want you to look at who is currently sitting on that throne. For too long, you have been told by the world that you are the center of the universe. You are bombarded every day with messages of self-love, self-care, and your truth. You are told that your feelings are the final authority, that if something feels right to you, it must be good. But I tell you the truth. This is the oldest lie in history. It is the same lie the serpent whispered in the garden. When you make yourself the god of your own life, you are setting yourself up for a crushing defeat. You were not designed to carry the weight of being your own savior. I see the exhaustion in your eyes. It is tiring, isn't it? It is exhausting trying to maintain the image of perfection you have curated for others to see. You spend so much energy protecting your ego, defending your reputation, and trying to prove that you are enough. You think that by focusing on yourself, you will find happiness, but have you noticed the opposite is happening? The more you obsess over your own needs, your own rights, and your own feelings, the more miserable and isolated you become. The gospel of self promises fulfillment, but it delivers nothing but emptiness and anxiety. I am calling you to a radical shift. I am calling you to the freedom of self-denial. I know this word sounds harsh to your modern ears. You have been trained to think that denying yourself is abusive. But I tell you, it is the only path to true life. When you step off the throne and let me sit there, the pressure is off. You no longer have to figure everything out. You no longer have to defend yourself, for I become your defender. You no longer have to source your own validation, for you are validated by the King of Kings. I see how pride has crept into your decisions. You think you know better than your Creator. You look at my word, and you pick and choose what fits your lifestyle, discarding the rest as outdated. You judge my ancient wisdom by your modern feelings. This is a dangerous game, my beloved. Pride is the blinding mist that leads you toward the cliff. It convinces you that you are flying when you are actually falling. I invite you to decrease so that I may increase within you. There is a joy found in humility that the arrogant will never know. There is a relief in saying, I do not know, but He does. I want you to stop seeking the spotlight. Stop trying to be the main character in the movie of the world. Be a servant. Look at the people around you. Your family, your coworkers, the stranger in the store, and ask, how can I serve them? Instead of what can they do for me? When you lose your life for my sake, you will find it. This is my promise. The idol of self will only consume you, but surrender to me will complete you. Smash the mirror of vanity and look into my face. My child, I need you to disconnect from the matrix so you can reconnect with your Maker. I am jealous for your attention. I created you to walk with me in the cool of the day, to hear my whisper in the wind, to know the rhythm of my heart. But look at you now. You are tethered to a machine. I see you in the morning. The very first thing you do when you open your eyes is reach for that glowing rectangle. Before you have even said good morning to me, you have allowed the world to flood your mind with its noise, its anger, its vanity, and its demands. You are inviting the chaos of the nations into your bedroom before you have put on your spiritual armor. These screens have become altars where you sacrifice your time. You say you don't have time to pray, yet I see the hours you scroll. You say you can't hear my voice, yet you never allow for silence. You have become addicted to information, terrified of a moment of boredom. You fill every gap in your day with podcasts, videos, music, and notifications. But my child, I speak in the stillness. If you are never still, how will you ever know that I am God? You are drowning out my guidance with the static of the internet. I see the envy that rots your bones when you look at those curated images. You see the highlight reels of others, their vacations, their happy families, their successes, and you compare them to your behind-the-scenes reality. You feel inadequate. You feel left behind. You feel a low-grade depression settling over you. This is a trap of the enemy. He uses these devices to breed discontent, to make you ungrateful for the blessings I have actually placed right in front of you. You are looking at a screen and missing the sunset outside your window. You are liking photos of strangers and ignoring the spouse or child sitting next to you. I am warning you, deep thinking and meditation on scripture are being eroded from your life. Your attention span is shattering. You can hardly read a chapter of my word without your hand twitching to check your phone. You are skimming through life instead of diving deep. You are trading wisdom for trivia. You are trading the eternal for the ephemeral. I command you to break this addiction. I am not saying technology is evil, but I am saying it has become your master, and you must serve only one master. I challenge you to set boundaries. Turn it off. Put it in another room. Create sacred zones in your house where the digital world is not allowed to enter. I invite you to rediscover the beauty of the physical world I made. Look at the sky, touch the grass. Look into people's eyes. When you unplug from the noise, you will be amazed at how loud my voice becomes. I'm waiting for you in the quiet. Will you meet me there? My child, I command you to stop letting fear dictate your decisions. I know the knot in your stomach. I know the racing heart when you wake up at 3 a.m. I know the scenarios you play out in your mind, the what-ifs that haunt you. What if I lose my job? What if the diagnosis is bad? What if the economy collapses? What if my children turn away? I see how you consume the news like a poison, letting the panic of the world infect your spirit. You call it being informed, but I call it unbelief. You must recognize that fear is not just an emotion. It is a spirit. It is a weapon forged by the enemy to paralyze your destiny. When you operate in fear, you are essentially acting like an atheist. You are living as if I do not exist, as if I am not good, as if I am not in control. You are carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, forgetting that I hold the universe in the palm of my hand. Anxiety is a lack of trust in my sovereignty. It is a belief that the storm is bigger than the Savior. I am not speaking of the natural caution that keeps you from danger. I am speaking of the tormenting spirit that steals your sleep and robs your joy. The command "do not fear" appears in my word hundreds of times for a reason. It is not a suggestion. It is a directive from your commander-in-chief. When I tell you not to fear, it is because I know who is walking beside you. If you could see the angelic army surrounding you right now, you would never tremble again. I see the contagion of panic spreading through the world. Men's hearts are failing them for fear. But you, my child, are called to be different. You are called to be a pillar of peace in a shaking world. When others are hoarding, you should be giving. When others are screaming, you should be singing. Your peace is the greatest weapon you have against the darkness. It confuses the enemy. It draws the lost to you. They will ask, "How can you be so calm?" And you will point them to me. I want you to breathe in my presence right now. Close your eyes. I am casting out that spirit of fear with my perfect love. Fear involves torment, and I do not want you tormented. I did not give you a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. Reclaim your sound mind. Rebuke the lies. stand on my promises. I have never failed you. I have brought you through every fire and every flood up to this point, and I am not going to drop you now. Trust me. Let go of the control you never really had, and rest in the safety of my grip. My child, why have you stopped talking to me? I look at the throne room, and there is a silence where your voice used to be. I miss you. It is as simple and as heartbreaking as that. I see you rushing through your days, fighting battles with your own strength, stressing over problems, calling your friends for advice, searching Google for answers, but you do not come to me. You treat prayer like a glass casing to be broken only in case of emergency, instead of the very breath in your lungs. You are trying to fight spiritual battles with carnal energy, and that is why you are exhausted. You are a soldier who has walked onto the battlefield and dropped your communication line with headquarters. How can you receive your orders? How can you call for air support? You are vulnerable, exposed, and easily surrounded because you have cut yourself off from the source of your power. I know why you avoid it. You feel guilty. You feel that because you haven't prayed in a while, you can't just start again. You think I am angry with you. Or perhaps you feel that prayer is a chore, a religious duty that you have to check off a list. You think you need to use fancy words or speak in a certain tone. My child, listen to me. I just want to hear your heart. I don't need a poem. I need your honesty. I need you to sit in your car, or in your shower, or at your desk, and just say, Father, I am here. I am struggling. Help me. When you neglect prayer, you become powerless. Your temper gets shorter. Your wisdom gets cloudy. Your hope fades. You begin to live a life that is indistinguishable from someone who doesn't know me. But when you pray, you plug into the high voltage of heaven. Prayer changes the atmosphere. Prayer moves my hand. Prayer shifts the burden from your back to mine. I am inviting you back to the secret place. It doesn't have to be hours long. Start with 5 minutes. Start with one honest sentence. Lord, I need you. I am the father who runs to meet the prodigal while he is still a long way off. You don't have to clean yourself up before you talk to me. Come with your doubts. Come with your anger. Come with your confusion. Yes, come. My ear is inclined toward you. I am leaning in, waiting for you to speak. Do not let the enemy silence your voice any longer. Your prayers are the bowls of incense in heaven. Fill them up again. We are deep in the trenches of a spiritual war, and to stop listening now is to drop your weapon in the face of the enemy. It breaks my heart to see you walk back into the line of fire without my full counsel. Do not abandon this conversation. Your victory depends on what I am about to say next. Hold the line. My child, you have heard my call to reignite the fire of prayer in your private life. But a fire must spread or it dies, and I am calling you to help spread this flame. I am looking for partners who will not just consume this urgent warning, but who will help carry this torch to the millions who are still sleeping in the dark. Your prayers open the heavens, but your giving opens the doors for this message to reach the lost, the broken, and the desperate who are scrolling for hope. Like the oil in the widow's jar, what you keep will sustain you for a moment, but what you pour out will multiply into a miracle for many. Do not let this mission falter. Click the link in the description or the super thanks button to sow your seed today. As you support this work, I declare that I will rebuke the devourer for your sake and open the windows of heaven over your home. Act now. Partner with me in this harvest, for the night is coming when no man can work. My child, be careful, for there are voices calling out to you that sound like mine, but they are not. I am warning you about the wolves in sheep's clothing. We are living in an age of deception, and the most dangerous lies are the ones that are mixed with 90% truth. You are listening to teachers, influencers, and leaders who tickle your ears rather than convict your heart. They tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. They promise you a life of endless gain, comfort, and promotion, but they never speak of the cross. They never speak of repentance. They never speak of the cost of following me. You must discern the difference. These wolves feed on your desire for success and affirmation. They twist my scripture to justify sinful lifestyles, telling you that love means affirming everything and judging nothing. They encourage you to follow personalities rather than the Spirit. You get excited about the messenger, but you are not transformed by the message. They sell you a product, not a savior. I call you to be a Berean. Do not just swallow everything that comes from a pulpit or a podcast. Open my word for yourself. Read it. Study it. Test every spirit. If a prophecy or a teaching does not align with the written word of God, reject it immediately, no matter how charismatic the speaker is, no matter how many followers they have. The devil can quote scripture. Remember how he tempted me in the wilderness. He uses the Bible to mislead those who do not know the author. I am warning you that not everyone who says to me, "Lord, Lord," will enter the kingdom of heaven. Those are terrifying words, and I want you to feel the weight of them. It is possible to be religious, to be active in the church, to sing the Psalms, and yet be completely unknown to me. True relationship is marked by obedience, not just lip service. Do not be led astray by the hype. Do not chase after the latest spiritual fad. Anchor yourself in the ancient paths. Anchor yourself in the full counsel of God, the kindness and the severity, the grace and the truth. If a gospel does not preach dying to self, it is not my gospel. If a message does not point you to holiness, it is not from my Spirit. Guard your heart. Guard your mind. Stay close to the shepherd, and you will recognize the voice of the wolf the moment he speaks. My child, I want you to take a moment and look at what you are trusting to keep you safe. I see the way you look at your bank account. I see the knot of anxiety that tightens in your stomach when the number is lower than you want it to be. I see the relief you feel when a payment comes through. You might tell yourself that you are just being responsible, that you are just being a good steward, but I need you to look deeper. There is a fine line between stewardship and servitude, and many of you have crossed it without realizing it. You are living in a world that tells you money is the ultimate answer to every problem. It tells you that if you have enough in your savings, you are secure. If you have enough investments, you are protected. And so, you strive. You work long hours, sacrificing your health, your family time, and your time with me, all in the pursuit of a number that you think will finally let you rest. But be honest with me. Has it ever been enough? Or does the goalpost always move? I am warning you about the deceitfulness of riches. Money lies to you. It whispers that it can give you peace, but it only gives you temporary comfort. It whispers that it can give you a future, but it can disappear in a market crash, a theft, or a medical emergency in the blink of an eye. When you place your trust in your finances, you are building your house on sand. You are serving mammon. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot kneel at the altar of wealth and stand in my presence at the same time. One will always demand the loyalty that belongs to the other. I see how this anxiety of hoarding has blinded you. When you are terrified of running out, your hand closes into a fist. You stop seeing the needs of the poor. You stop seeing the widow and the orphan. You walk past the person in need because your mind is calculating your own survival. You think, I can't afford to help, while you sit in a home filled with things you do not need. Greed acts like cataracts on your spiritual eyes. It makes you blind to the suffering of others and blind to the abundance of my kingdom. I am calling you to a different way of living. I am calling you to look at the birds of the air. They do not have 401 ks. They do not have barns or storehouses. Yet, have you ever seen a bird having a panic attack about its next meal? No. Because I feed them. Are you not worth much more than they? I challenge you to break the grip of money over your life by doing the exact opposite of what your fear tells you to do. Give. Give when it doesn't make sense. Give when you are scared. When you open your hand to give, you are declaring to the spiritual realm that your trust is not in the paper in your wallet, but in the provider who made the heavens and the earth. I want you to trade your anxiety for the peace of stewardship. Stewardship means you manage resources, but you do not own them. They are mine. If I give, I give. If I take away, I take away. But I will never leave you begging for bread. Stop looking at the economy of the world and start looking at the economy of heaven. Trust in my provision. I am your source. Everything else is just a resource. My child, I must speak to you about the temperature of your heart, for it is in a dangerous state. I would rather you be cold, completely against me, honest about your rejection, than to be where you are right now. You are stuck in the middle. You are neither cold nor hot. You are lukewarm. And just as you would spit out a cup of coffee that has lost its heat and become stagnant, your half-hearted devotion is nauseating to my spirit. I know this sounds harsh, but I am speaking this to wake you up. The illusion of safety you feel in this middle ground is a lie. You think that because you go to church on Sunday, because you listen to Christian music in your car, or because you grew up in a believing home, that you are safe. You think you have checked the box. But you are living with a form of godliness while denying its power. You have the label of a Christian, but you lack the fire of a disciple. I see your life. You look exactly like the world from Monday to Saturday. You laugh at the same crude jokes. You watch the same immoral shows. You gossip with the same malice. You pursue the same hollow ambitions. There is no distinction. If someone were to put you on trial for being a follower of Christ, would there be enough evidence to convict you? Or is your faith so blended into the background of your culture that it is invisible? This is the warning I gave to the church of Laodicea, and it is the warning I give to you today. You say, I am rich, I have acquired wealth and do not need a thing. You think because your life is comfortable that I am pleased with you. But I say to you, you are wretched, pitiful, poor, blind, and naked. You are spiritually bankrupt while sitting in the lap of luxury. I am calling you to reignite the fire on the altar of your heart. How do you do that? You must repent of your apathy. You must stop tolerating a low-level relationship with me. I do not want a weekend visitation rights relationship with you. I want full custody. I want your Monday morning stress. I want your Friday night plans. I want your secret thoughts. You cannot keep 1 foot in the world and 1 foot in my kingdom. You will be torn apart. It is time to choose. If Baal is God, serve him. If the world is your master, serve it with all you have and see where it leads you. But if I am God, then serve me with fire. Serve me with passion. I am standing at the door of your heart and knocking. I am not forcing my way in. I am asking you to open the door and let me sit with you, to dine with you, to bring the heat back into your life. Do not settle for a boring, powerless, routine religion. That is not what I died for. I died to give you life, and life abundant. Stop sleepwalking through your faith. Wake up. Get hot. Burn for me again, or you will eventually drift away completely. It is all in, my child. It is all in Urnavio. My child, I want to take you back in your memory to the day we first met. Do you remember it? Do you remember the moment the weight of your sin fell off your shoulders? Do you remember the tears that streamed down your face when you realized you were forgiven? Do you remember the passion that burned in your chest? You couldn't get enough of my word. You couldn't wait to tell people about me. You would talk to me all day long, just happy to be in my presence. You were in love. But look at us now. What happened? I see you working hard. I see your service. I see you volunteering at the church, giving your tithe, serving in the community. You are doing many good things. But I feel the distance. Duty has slowly, suddenly replaced delight. You are doing the works, but you have lost the wonder. You are like a spouse who keeps the house clean and pays the bills but never looks their partner in the eye anymore to say, "I love you." You have let the routine of religion mask a heart that has wandered away. You have become a professional Christian. You know when to stand, when to sit, what to say, and how to act. But where is the intimacy? When was the last time you sat with me not to ask for something, not to study for a lesson you have to teach, but just to be with me? Just to love me. I feel a sadness when I watch you. I see you running around like Martha, distracted by all the preparations, thinking you are pleasing me by your busyness. But you are missing the one thing that is needful. You are missing Mary's portion, sitting at my feet. I do not need your labor as much as I need your love. I can get the work done with a word. I created the universe with a sentence. I don't need your help. I want your heart. I am calling you to remember, repent, and repeat. Remember from where you have fallen. Look back at the height of your early love. Repent for allowing other things, even good, religious things, to take the throne of your affections. And do the first works again. Go back to the basics. Go back to simple worship. Go back to reading the Bible like a love letter, not a textbook. My arms are wide open, inviting you back. I am not angry. I am jealous for you. I want that fire back. I want that gaze back. I want you to walk with me, not just work for me. The world will drain you. Ministry will drain you. Life will drain you. But intimacy with me will sustain you. Come back to the beginning. Come back to the simplicity of loving me. Let's start over today. Let's fall in love again. I am waiting for you right here, in the quiet place. My child, we need to talk about the muzzle you have placed over your own mouth. I see the situations you are in every day. I see you at the office cooler, at the family dinner table, in the classroom, or scrolling through social media. I see the moments when truth rises up in your throat, when you know you should speak, when you know you should defend my name or my standards, and I see you swallow it back down. I see you look around to see who is watching. I see you gauging the temperature of the room, terrified of being the odd one out. You have fallen into the snare of the fear of man. You are valuing the approval of broken, finite people more than the approval of your Creator. You are more afraid of a jagged look from a coworker or a negative comment on a post than you are of grieving my Holy Spirit. You are compromising truth because you don't want to be labeled. You don't want to be called intolerant, old-fashioned, hateful, or foolish. But my child, listen to me. Woe to you when all men speak well of you. If the world loves you, it is because you belong to the world. But I have called you out of the world. Why are you seeking applause from a graveyard? Why are you seeking validation from a culture that is confused and dying? Their applause is temporary. It fades like the grass. One day they cry Hosanna, and the next day they cry Crucify. Human opinion is a shifting shadow. My opinion is the only one that will matter when you stand before the throne. I see how political correctness has acted as a muzzle on your prophetic voice. You are walking on eggshells, trying not to offend anyone. But the gospel is offensive to the spirit of the world. The cross is a stumbling block. You cannot shine the light without irritating the darkness. Stop apologizing for my word. Stop trying to water down the truth to make it palatable. When you dilute the medicine, you destroy the cure. I am commanding you to be bold as a lion. The righteous are bold. I did not give you a spirit of timidity. I need you to stand up. I need you to speak the truth in love. Yes, always in love, but speak it. Do not be silent when evil is called good and good is called evil. Your silence is consent. Fear only the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. That is the fear of the Lord, and it is the beginning of wisdom. When you fear me, you lose the fear of everyone else. When you bow your knee to me, you can stand tall before any man. Take the muzzle off. Open your mouth and I will fill it. Be my witness. Be my ambassador. Let them mock. Let them unfollow. Let them reject. I have chosen you. I have approved you. And my well done is worth more than the applause of 1 billion people. I feel your spirit pulling back, tempted by the distractions of the world. Do not do it. To leave now is to confirm the very fear we just exposed. It would crush my heart to see you choose the comfort of ignorance over the freedom of truth. Press through the resistance. The breakthrough you have prayed for is hidden in the next breath. My child, I need you to drop the stone you are holding in your hand. I look at my body, the church, and I see it tearing itself apart. I see the spirit of division running rampant, and it grieves me deeply. I see the way you talk about other believers who don't attend your specific denomination, or who don't vote the way you vote, or who don't worship with the same style of music. I see the subtle sneer. I hear the prayer requests that are actually just thinly veiled gossip. You are playing the enemy's game. His strategy has always been divide and conquer. He knows that a house divided against itself cannot stand. So, he whispers in your ear. He highlights the faults of your brother. He magnifies the errors of your sister. He makes you focus on the 5% you disagree on, rather than the 95% you share in the blood of Jesus. I see the destruction caused by your tongue. Gossip and slander are not small sins to me. They are abominations. When you speak against a brother or sister, you are speaking against a member of my own body. Imagine if your hand started attacking your foot. That is what is happening in the spirit. You are focusing on minor, theological differences or cultural preferences, while the world outside is burning. People are dying without hope, and you are fighting over the color of the carpet or the style of the preaching. This lack of unity grieves the Holy Spirit. It quenches the power of revival. I commanded you to love one another. I said that by this, by your love for one another, all men will know that you are my disciples, not by your perfect doctrine, not by your big buildings, not by your political influence, by your love. If you bite and devour one another, watch out that you are not consumed by one another. I am calling you to be a peacemaker. I am asking you to stop the gossip when it reaches your ears. Be the place where the rumor dies. I am asking you to forgive the offense. I am asking you to reach across the aisle and shake the hand of the one you disagree with. You don't have to agree on everything to walk in love. My prayer in the garden was that you would be one, just as I and the Father are one. Are you answering that prayer, or are you hindering it? Put down the stone of judgment. Pick up the towel of service. Wash one another's feet. The world is watching. Show them a unity that makes no sense to the natural mind. Show them the supernatural love of the kingdom. Be one, my child. Be one. My child, we need to have a very serious conversation about how you are treating the gift I gave you. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and picture a gift that cost the giver everything they had. Imagine someone selling their home, their livelihood, and eventually giving their very life to purchase something for you. Now, imagine you taking that gift, looking at it with a shrug, and tossing it into the mud. You would never do that to a human being, would you? You would consider that the height of disrespect and ingratitude. Yet, I need you to see that this is exactly what you are doing with my grace when you use it as an excuse to sin. I hear the thoughts that go through your mind when temptation comes. I hear the internal negotiation. You tell yourself, I can do this just one more time. God is forgiving. He understands my weakness. I will just ask for forgiveness later, and it will be wiped clean. My child, do you realize how dangerous this mindset is? You are treating the blood of the covenant, which sanctified you, as a common thing. You are turning the most expensive gift in the universe into a cheap, get-out-of-jail-free card. Grace is not a license to sin. It is the power to overcome sin. When I poured out my grace upon you, it was not so that you could remain comfortable in your chains. It was to break them. You are using your liberty as a cloak for maliciousness. You are saying, I am free, while you voluntarily walk back into the cage of the enemy. You are mistaking my patience for permission. Because I do not strike you with lightning the moment you sin, you think I do not care. But you are wrong. I care deeply, because I know that sin is a predator. I am warning you about the danger of presumptuous sin. This is the sin committed with a high hand, the sin that looks at the cross and says, I know what you paid, but I want this pleasure more. This hardens your heart faster than anything else. It sears your conscience. Eventually, you will reach a point where you can sin without feeling any conviction at all, and that is a terrifying place to be. That is the edge of the cliff. I want you to look at the cross again. I want you to see the blood running down. I want you to hear the labored breathing. That was the cause of your grace. Every time you casually dip into sin expecting a quick fix, you are trivializing that agony. You are essentially saying that my suffering was worth less than your temporary satisfaction. I am calling you to holiness. Be holy, for I am holy. Holiness is not about being a rigid, joyless religious robot. Holiness is about wholeness. It is about being set apart for a special purpose. It is about saying, I love my Father too much to break his heart. I want you to stop asking, how far can I go and still be saved? And start asking, how close can I get to Jesus? The closer you get to me, the more the things of this world will lose their taste. Stop abusing grace. Stop testing the limits of mercy. Instead, let my grace wash over you to cleanse you, to empower you, and to change you. Use the power I have given you to say no to ungodliness and yes to a life that honors the price I paid. My child, look around you. Do you see them? Do you really see them? I am talking about the people you pass every single day. The cashier at the grocery store who looks exhausted. The neighbor who waves at you but hides a secret depression behind closed doors. The coworker who laughs the loudest but feels the emptiest. To you, they are just background characters in the movie of your life. But to me, they are my lost children. They are the reason I tarry. They are the reason history is not yet wrapped up. And yet, I see a cold apathy in your heart toward their souls. You have the cure for deadly disease in your pocket, and you or walking through a hospital ward filled with dying patients, refusing to share it. You are hoarding the light. You are content to sit in your comfortable church, singing psalms about how good I am, soaking in the sermon, and then you walk out the doors and zip your lips. You treat your faith as a private hobby, something to be kept within the four walls of your home or your sanctuary. But I did not light a lamp to put it under a basket. I lit you to set you on a hill. I hear your excuses. I'm an introvert. I don't know enough theology. I don't want to be weird. Religion is a private matter. I'll just live a good life and hope they ask. My child, these excuses will burn up in the fire of judgment. While you are worried about being socially awkward, they are walking toward an eternity without hope. While you are worried about being canceled or labeled, they are being dragged down by the enemy. I want to remind you of the watchman. In ancient times, the watchman stood on the wall. If he saw the sword coming and blew the trumpet, and the people did not listen, their blood was on their own heads. But if the watchman saw the sword coming and stayed silent, because he was tired, or afraid, or distracted, and the people died, I required their blood at the watchman's hand. Do you feel the weight of that? You are a watchman. You know the truth about eternity. You know the way to life. To remain silent is an act of spiritual negligence. The Great Commission was not the great suggestion. I commanded you to go. I commanded you to make disciples. This is not just a job for the pastor or the missionary on the other side of the world. It is your job. It is your primary assignment. Your career is just the platform. The gospel is the purpose. I am asking you to break out of your bubble. I am asking you to care. I want you to ask me for a burden for the lost. Ask me to break your heart for what breaks mine. When was the last time you wept for a soul? When was the last time you fasted for a family member who doesn't know me? I invite you to open your mouth. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need a 3-point sermon. You just need to say, "Let me tell you what Jesus did for me." Share your story. Offer to pray for someone who is hurting. Hand out a tract. Invite them to your table. Do something. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Do not let another day go by where you hoard the bread of life while the world starves. Get into the field. My child, it is time to open the closet door that you have kept locked for so long. You know exactly what I am talking about. There is a part of your life that you have partitioned off. There is a habit, a relationship, a website, a substance, or a behavior that you indulge in when you think no one is watching. You have become an expert at covering your tracks. You delete the history. You speak in code. You put on your church face and your public smile, acting as if everything is pure and holy, while inside, you are carrying a rotting corpse. I see the hypocrisy, and it is destroying you. You think you are getting away with it because you haven't been caught by a human being yet. You think that because the lightning hasn't struck, I must not see. But I see it all. I see you in the dark as clearly as I see you in the noonday sun. There are no secrets from me. And I want you to know that this secret sin is not just a bad habit. It is a spiritual cancer. It is rotting your bones. Think about the anxiety you carry, the low-level hum of paranoia that someone will find out, the fear that grabs you when someone picks up your phone, the exhaustion of living two lives. You are fracturing your own soul. You cannot have spiritual confidence when you know you are living a lie. You cannot pray with power when you are hiding sin in your tent. It blocks your ears from hearing me. It creates a fog between us that you cannot penetrate. I am warning you, what is done in secret will be shouted from the rooftops. There is nothing covered that will not be revealed. If you do not bring it into the light voluntarily, I love you enough to expose it to save you. And believe me, the exposure will be painful. It will devastate your family. It will ruin your reputation. It will shatter the trust of those you love. Do not wait for the explosion. Do not wait for the scandal. I am inviting you to bring it into the light now. Not for shame, but for healing. The enemy tells you, if you tell anyone, it will be over. You will be rejected. You will be ruined. That is a lie. The dark is where the mold grows. The light is where the healing happens. I am calling you to confess. First to me. Drop the excuses, drop the rationalizations, and just own it. Say, I have sinned. And then, find a trusted, godly brother or sister and confess it to them. You need accountability. You need someone to drag this monster into the light with you and help you kill it. I promise you, the moment you stop hiding, the power of that sin will break. The shame will lose its grip. My mercy is waiting for you, but my mercy cannot cover what you will not uncover. If you hide it, I cannot heal it. If you reveal it, I can wash it white as snow. Do not let the secret thing drag you down to the pit. Be brave. Open the door. Let the light in. Let's clean this house today. My child, I need you to lift your head and look at the horizon. The storm clouds are gathering. You are living in a generation that is witnessing the convergence of history. For centuries, my people have looked for the signs, but you are seeing them accelerate like birth pains in a woman ready to deliver. You know this. You feel it. You turn on the news and you see the shaking of nations. You see economies trembling on the brink of collapse. You see the natural world groaning, floods, fires, earthquakes in diverse places, weather patterns that defy explanation. These are not just random events. They are the contractions of the earth waiting for the return of its king. I see the falling away happening right in front of your eyes. You have watched leaders you trusted renounce their faith. You have watched friends who once sat beside you in the pew walk away, seduced by the spirit of the age. You see the increase of lawlessness, not just crime in the streets, but a spiritual lawlessness that despises authority and mocks righteousness. You feel the cooling of love, where people have become fierce, brutal, and self-absorbed. I am warning you, do not be like the Pharisees who could read the weather, knowing if it would rain or shine, but could not discern the signs of the times. You are distracted. You are worried about your retirement fund, your next vacation, the latest political drama, or the sports score, while the prophetic clock is ticking toward midnight. You are rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. I need you to develop discernment. You must read the season you are living in. This is not a time for spiritual slumber. This is not a time to build your kingdom on this earth, as if you will be here forever. Everything that can be shaken is being shaken, so that what cannot be shaken may remain. Are you built on the rock, or are you built on the systems of this world? My warning is clear. I come like a thief in the night. A thief does not send a text message announcing his arrival. He comes when the house is quiet, when the lights are out, when the master is asleep. Will I find you sleeping? Will I find you drunk on the wine of the world's distractions? Or will I find you dressed, lamp burning, watching at the door? I am not telling you this to make you panic. I am telling you this to make you prepare. Preparation looks like a clean heart. It looks like a loose grip on material things. It looks like a sense of urgency for the lost. It looks like living every single day with one eye on your work and one eye on the eastern sky. Do not be deceived by the mockers who say, "Where is the promise of his coming?" Everything continues as it has from the beginning. They are willfully blind. The dam is about to break. I am at the door. My hand is on the latch. Be ready, my child. Be ready. The hour is late, and the shadows are lengthening. We are approaching the most critical part of this warning, the judgment and the final hope. To stop now is to sleep through the fire alarm. Do not leave me standing here with your eternity in my hands. You must hear the end of the matter. Finish the race. You see the nations shaking and the time running out, which means the season for hoarding earthly treasure has passed. Now is the hour to invest in eternity. The money you hold will eventually turn to dust, but the seed you sow into this ministry today will transform into saved souls that will welcome you into everlasting habitations. I am calling you to transfer your resources from a crumbling world into my unshakable kingdom, ensuring this urgent warning reaches those standing on the precipice of destruction. Be the vessel that funds the final harvest. Use the super thanks, join as a member, or give via the link in the description to fuel this mission. As you care for my house and my people, watch how I build a hedge of protection around your finances that the enemy cannot breach. Do not wait for a more convenient season. The clock is ticking. So sow your seed of faith immediately and secure your treasure in heaven. My child, there is an appointment on your calendar that you cannot cancel, and we must prepare for it. One day, your heart will beat for the final time. Your lungs will take their final breath. The screen of your life will go black, and in the next instant, you will stand before me. This is not a fairy tale. This is the ultimate reality. You will stand before the judgment seat of Christ. This is not the judgment of condemnation for your sin, for if you are in me, that was settled at the cross. But this is the judgment of stewardship. This is the evaluation of how you lived the life I gave you. I want you to feel the gravity of that moment. The books will be open. Every idle word you spoke, the gossip, the slander, the harshness, will be accounted for. Every deed, whether good or bad, will be brought into the open. There will be no hiding in the crowd then. It will be just you and me. My eyes, which are like flames of fire, will look through your soul. I will not look at your title, your bank account, your social media followers, or your reputation among men. I will look at your heart and your fruit. We will test your life's work with fire. Paul warned you of this. There are works of gold, silver, and precious stones. These are acts done in obedience, in love, for my glory, and by my Spirit. They will pass through the fire and shine even brighter. But there are works of wood, hay, and stubble. These are the things you did for your own ego, the religious busy work done without love, the time wasted on things that did not matter. When the fire touches them, they will burn up in an instant. Imagine the tragedy of living a whole life, running hard, sweating, and striving, only to watch it all turn to ash at my feet because it was done for the wrong reasons. You will be saved, yet so as through fire, smelling of smoke, with no reward to lay at my feet. I do not want that for you. I want you to have a full reward. I am calling you to live with the eternal perspective. Stop living for the weekend. Stop living for the applause of people who will be dust in 100 years. Live for that single moment when our eyes meet. Live in such a way that you are not ashamed at my appearing. The terror of the Lord is not a fear that drives you away. It is a holy reverence that persuades you to live righteously. It aligns your priorities. It makes you forgive quickly. It makes you give generously. It makes you serve humbly. My deepest desire is not to rebuke you on that day. My desire, the longing of my heart, is to look at you with a smile that lights up the heavens, to open my arms, and to say the words you have longed to hear, Well done. Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things, I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Live for that sentence. Let it drive everything you do today. The test is coming. Make sure your life is made of gold. My child, I am asking you to come home. We have spoken about many things: the war, the distractions, the specific sins that entangle you. But now we arrive at the most critical moment of our conversation. This is the moment of decision. I am calling you to repentance. I know that word carries a heavy weight in your mind. You have been taught that repentance is a shameful thing, a moment of groveling in the dirt. But I want you to see it through my eyes. Repentance is not about shame. It is about survival. It is not about feeling bad. It is about coming back to life. Repentance, in its truest form, is a change of mind that leads to a change of direction. It is you walking down a road that leads to a cliff, hearing my voice, stopping, turning around, and walking back toward safety. It is a U-turn. I see how you have been living. I see the direction your choices are taking you, and I am telling you, with all the urgency of a father who loves you, that road ends in destruction. You cannot continue to harbor secret sins, resentment, and worldly compromise and expect to arrive at a destination of peace. I see the danger of the phrase you often whisper to yourself: I will deal with this tomorrow. You tell yourself that you will get serious about your faith later. You will stop that habit next week. You will forgive that person when you are ready. My child, listen to me. Tomorrow is a thief. Tomorrow is the enemy's favorite day because it never comes. You do not own tomorrow. You only have this moment. The breath in your lungs right now is a gift I have given you for this purpose. To delay repentance is to gamble with your soul. I need you to understand the difference between regret and repentance. You might be sorry for the consequences of your sin. You might be sorry that you got caught. We're sorry that you feel empty. We're sorry that your relationships are suffering. That is merely the sorrow of the world, and it leads only to death and self-pity. I am looking for godly sorrow, a sorrow that breaks your heart because you realize you have broken mine. I am looking for the breaking of the foul ground of your heart. You know how hard the ground gets when it hasn't rained. That is your heart right now. It needs to be broken up so the seeds of new life can grow. I am inviting you to the cleansing that is available immediately. You do not have to earn your way back to me. You do not have to clean yourself up before you get in the shower. You just have to step in. The moment, the very second, you confess your sin and turn from it, I am faithful and just to forgive you. I do not hold a grudge. I do not keep a record of wrongs once they are under the blood. My promise to you is this: a broken and contrite heart I will not despise. I will never look at a tear-stained face that is looking for mercy and turn away. Never. I am the Father running down the driveway to meet you. But you must turn. You must start walking toward me. Stop justifying your behavior. Stop blaming your past, your parents, or your circumstances. Take responsibility. Say, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. And watch how quickly I restore your robe, your ring, and your sandals. The banquet table is ready. The only thing missing is you. Kavo. My child, there is a weapon I have given you that you have left in the sheath, and it is time to draw it. I am speaking of the blood of the covenant. I know this sounds strange to the modern ear. The world does not understand it. But you must understand it, for it is the only remedy for the condition of your soul. When the enemy comes against you, and he comes with a list of accusations. He points to your past. He points to your failures. He points to the secret thoughts you are ashamed of. He is the accuser of the brethren, and he is a good lawyer. He has evidence against you. If you try to defend yourself with your own goodness, you will lose every time. Your righteousness is like filthy rags. You cannot debate the enemy with your own track record. But when you plead the blood, the courtroom of heaven goes silent. The blood is the legal evidence that the price for your sin has already been paid. It is the receipt that proves the debt is canceled. When the accuser says they are guilty, the blood speaks better things. It says they are purchased. I want you to use this reality in your daily life. When you feel the crushing weight of guilt, I want you to speak out loud, "The blood of Jesus cleanses me." This is not a magic spell. It is a legal declaration of your standing in my kingdom. The blood provides a line of protection that the destroyer cannot cross. Remember the Israelites in Egypt. When the angel of death passed through, he did not look at how good the people inside the house were. He looked for one thing: the blood on the doorpost. If the blood was there, he had to pass over. I am telling you to apply the blood to the doorposts of your life today. Apply it to your mind when the thoughts of suicide or depression attack you. Apply it to your marriage when the spirit of division tries to tear it apart. Apply it to your children. The enemy has no authority where the blood is applied. It is your shield. It is your fortress. Furthermore, this blood grants you access to the Holy of Holies. In the old times, only the high priest could enter my presence once a year, and even he trembled. But now, because of the blood shed on Calvary, the veil is torn. You, yes, you, with all your flaws and struggles, can walk right into the throne room of the universe. You can climb into my lap. You can speak to me face to face. Do not stand outside in the courtyard of shame. The price has been paid for your entry. To stand outside is to insult the payment. I want you to visualize this cleansing power. Though your sins are like scarlet, I wash them white as snow. This is not a cover-up. It is a removal. I do not just hide your sin. I expunge it. I separate it from you as far as the east is from the west. My child, do not waste this sacrifice. Do not treat the blood as a common thing. It is the life of my Son poured out for you. It is the most powerful force in the universe. It breaks chains. It heals wounds. It silences demons. It satisfies justice. It is yours. Use it. Walk in the victory that was bought for you at such a high cost. You are not a victim. You are blood-bought. My child, it is dangerous to walk out your front door naked, yet you do it spiritually every single day. You wake up, you dress your body, you brush your teeth, and you walk out into a world that is hostile to your spirit without putting on a single piece of protection. Is it any wonder you come home bleeding? Is it any wonder you are riddled with anxiety, pierced by offense, and knocked down by temptation? You are a soldier walking onto a battlefield in your pajamas. I have provided you with a suit of armor that is impenetrable, but it does you no good if it hangs in the closet. You must put it on. I command you to cast off the works of darkness and put on the armor of light. This is an active, daily decision. I want you to fasten the belt of truth around your waist. This means you must commit to total integrity. The belt holds everything else together. If you are living a lie, if you are being deceptive at work or in your relationships, your armor falls apart. You trip over your own loose garments. Truth gives you mobility and stability. I want you to put on the breastplate of righteousness. This guards your vital organs, your heart, and your lungs. This is not your own self-righteousness. It is my righteousness given to you. But it also means living right. It means guarding your emotions. When the enemy tries to shoot an arrow of rejection or heartbreak into your chest, the breastplate absorbs the blow. You do not have to walk around with a wounded heart. You are protected by who you are in me. I command you to pick up the shield of faith. This is non-negotiable. The enemy is firing fiery darts at you all day long. Thoughts of what if, headlines of disaster, insults from others. These darts are dipped in fire. They are designed to burn and spread. Faith is the shield that extinguishes them. Faith is not a feeling. It is acting on what I have said. When the thought comes, you are going to fail, the shield says, no, I can do all things through Christ. You have to lift the shield. You have to actively trust me and take the helmet of salvation. This protects your mind. Your head is the control center. If the enemy can get you to doubt your salvation, doubt your worth, or doubt your future, he has won. The helmet protects your thoughts. It reminds you that you are saved, you are secure, and you have a future hope. Finally, take the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. This is your only offensive weapon. Everything else is for defense, but the sword is for fighting back. When Jesus was tempted, he did not argue. He said, "It is written." You must have my word in your mouth. You cannot fight the devil with your own logic. You must slash through his lies with the truth of Scripture. And I tell you, after you have done everything, stand. Do not retreat. Do not give an inch of ground. I am not calling you to attack hell with a water pistol. I am calling you to stand in the full armor of God. When you are dressed in this light, the darkness cannot touch you. Put it on today. Put it on tomorrow. Never take it off. My child, we are at the end of this conversation, but we are only at the beginning of your new life. I have spoken harsh words of warning to you because I love you. I have shaken you because I do not want you to sleep through the harvest. But now, I want to leave you with the assurance that will anchor your soul in the days ahead. I want you to know, deep in your bones, that you are going to make it. I promise you that he who endures to the end shall be saved. The race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but to the one who holds my hand and refuses to let go. You do not have to be perfect. You just have to be persistent. You do not have to be the strongest person in the room. You just have to be the one leaning on the strongest one. My presence is with you. I am not a distant God watching from a balcony. I am with you in the boardroom when the pressure is on. I am with you in the doctor's office when the news is bad. I am with you in the lonely hours of the night. I am with you even to the end of the age. There is nowhere you can go where I am not. If you make your bed in hell, I am there. If you dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there my hand shall lead you. You are never, ever alone. I want you to lift your eyes to the hope of the new heaven and the new earth. This broken world is not your home. The pain you feel now, the tears you shed, the injustice you see, it is all temporary. It is passing away. I am preparing a place for you where righteousness dwells, where there is no more sorrow, no more pain, no more death. Live with that destination in your heart. It will give you the courage to face the trials of today. You are held in the palm of my hand, and no one can snatch you out. The enemy can roar, the world can shake, people can leave, but my grip on you is secure. I chose you before the foundation of the world, and I do not make mistakes. I started this good work in you, and I will be faithful to complete it. I give you this final warning. Do not harden your heart to what you have heard today. Do not let the birds of the air come and steal the seed I have just planted. Act on it. Change. Repent. Pray. Seek me. The door is open now, but the night is coming. I seal this message to your heart with my love. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I was there when you took your first breath, and I will be there when you take your last. Trusting me is your only safety. Loving me is your only true joy. I am here. I am yours. And you are mine. Now go and live like you believe it. You have feasted on my truth and received the armor for the battle, but now I ask you, will you help set the table for the millions who are still starving in the wilderness? This ministry is my trumpet in the last days, but it is your generosity that gives it breath to sound the alarm to the ends of the earth. Do not be a reservoir that only takes, be a river that flows with life by supporting this work through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link below. I declare that as you honor me with the first fruits of your substance, your barns will be filled with plenty and your vats will overflow with new wine. This is not just a donation. It is spiritual warfare, pushing back the darkness so my light can shine brighter. Prove your partnership in this gospel right now. Go to the link in the description, sow your seed with a cheerful heart, and watch me multiply it back to you in ways you cannot contain. If my warning has pierced your heart, and you are ready to wake up and stand as a watchman in these urgent times, I command you to declare your readiness by writing "I am listening, Lord" in the comments below. Let this simple act be a stake driven into the ground, a physical sign to the spiritual realm that you are no longer sleepwalking through history, but are fully awake to my voice. Your public declaration breaks the enemy's hold on your silence and aligns you with my remnant army. Do not hesitate. Type it now as a covenant sign between you and me, and watch how I empower your testimony. Amen.